Secret Sand sometimes, Lee.
Do you think so?
I like it.
I think I'm not cruel enough. I'm just getting warmed up.
I think you should ramp it up a bit.
I'm only just prepping myself up. You wait to see now next week what happens.
All right, have a good day.
You too.
See you tomorrow. That's Lee Gooch back on the naughty alarm clock, bright and early from 6:30. It's the 9 till noon. Pardon, what did you say?
Is that your tummy?
No, that's the drilling, isn't it? I thought he was told not to drill during my programme.
The dentist should never move next door.
Whoa, if that's a dentist. God help whoever's in the chair.
Oh, there he goes there now. That's a villain.
All right, good luck. Lee's back with you tomorrow morning at 6:30. Donald's here now with the news at 9. Good morning, Donald.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. The Micah Action Group says, as it stands, the enhanced redress scheme approved by Cabinet yesterday does not meet their needs. Minister Darragh O'Brien says he's satisfied that the enhanced scheme will represent a significant step forward and help homeowners rebuild their homes and their lives. However, MAG PRO Michael Doherty says while elements of the scheme are close, it's not yet right. He says the focus now goes on what amendments are proposed during what will be a very limited pre-legislative scrutiny process.
They know what it was they needed to do. It was very clearly laid out. The shame in some ways is that it's not a million miles away, but there are some fundamental things that they need to take into account, and they seem to still be reluctant to go there. We will be getting a compressed version of PLS, which we did ask for, which shouldn't affect the overall timelines. The amendments that come from that are the hard yards that's left for this government. They either do it then, or we just have to call it a day with this government and move on.
The new Cathaoirleach of the Donegal Municipal District says the housing crisis in the county is becoming very worrying, particularly with the number of young people who don't have somewhere to live. Councillor Niamh Kennedy was elected to the chair with Councillor Tom Conahan as her deputy. Councillor Kennedy says it will be a challenging year but a productive one. She says the Donegal MD has a tradition of collaborative cooperation, and that was exemplified when they received funding for 2 major bridge projects.
We do work well together. As I say, everybody has kind of their own maybe main areas that they would tend to focus on, but we all support each other on that. Obviously, there's going to be times when people don't altogether agree, but that's democratic and that's what we're there for, to support the people who've elected us. We work well together. Bridges were a big testament to that. At the time, Donegal Town Bridge and Central Bridge went together for funding, and Donegal is now finished. Central now is on the way.
The European Commission is today expected to agree on legal action against the UK when it meets in Brussels. It's after the Westminster government revealed a plan to override parts of the Northern Ireland Protocol. The British government insists its move is in line with international law. The EU disagrees. It's claimed President Michael D. Higgins crossed a line in comments he made about the housing crisis. According to reports, a number of government ministers are furious about the remarks made during the opening of a new charity-funded accommodation for homeless young people in County Kildare. The President described housing as our great, great failure. He said the situation was no longer a crisis, but a disaster. And hotel bosses will appear before TDs and senators today to respond to allegations of price gouging with hotel room rates. The Oireachtas Tourism Committee will have a roundtable discussion with the Irish Hotels Federation, Fáilte Ireland and the Irish Tourism Industry Confederation. It follows reports of people paying hundreds of euro for nights in hotels, particularly during big sporting or music events. The Hotels Federation says there's a shortage of available beds with strong demand, and that's pushing up prices with rooms selling out months in advance. The chair of the Tourism Committee is Niamh Smith.
It's not good publicity for this country either. You know, as I said, we've been through a difficult couple of weeks over what happened at Dublin Airport. We've had the difficulty of the passport office where people do want to go abroad. For those of us who might decide to actually stay in the country, you do need to make it reasonable that families can actually consider it, because, as I said, the next option is they will get on a plane.
Staying fairly cloudy today with occasional showery outbreaks of rain. Top temperatures 15 to 18 degrees Celsius. Coolest near the coast. Moderate to fresh southwest to west winds. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news in full at 10 o'clock.
Is your home or motor insurance up for renewal? Now is the time to check if your policy still offers you the right cover and the right fit at the right price. To be sure you're getting the best deal, take this opportunity to shop around. It's easier than you think. Simply contact your insurer or broker today. Remember, don't just renew, review. For more information, visit understandinginsurance.ie. Brought to you by Insurance Ireland.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering MyCU current account and debit MasterCard, bringing full banking features, delivered with the same local trustworthy service of your credit union. And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest. The 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello, good morning to you. It's just turned 5 minutes past 9 on this Wednesday, the 15th of June. We're about halfway through the month. How are you keeping? I hope you are well. The lines are open for you right now. We've plenty lined up for you, and we want your views on it as we go. But also, you can raise your issues as you did with us all week. You do all the time. And we try and highlight them for you, get solutions, or just platform good news, whatever it might be. Get in touch with us, 08660 25,000, your WhatsApps and texts, 08660 25,000, or give us a call on 07491 25,000. We can't promise you a global superstar today like we did yesterday, but we've got loads of superstars joining us with their views and opinions and information, of course. All right, let's crack on. Just a reminder for you, by the way, if you want to watch the programme, more of you do now than ever did before, you can hop on our website, highlandradio.com, watch us there, or go straight to our YouTube or Facebook channels and join the conversation. A good morning to Michael, Anne, and Rosemary. Good morning to you guys too. Thanks for the kind comments. Okay. The Finn Valley Voice this morning, a follow-up review of files claimed that at least 40 intellectually disabled residents of a Finn Valley Health Service executive-run centre were subjected to sexual assaults by more than 10 perpetrators over an 11-year period. The report in Saturday's Irish Times say the assaults dating back to 1991 happened at the Sean O'Hare unit, Stranorlar, the same centre highlighted by the Brandon report, a separate review completed last year by the National Independent Review Panel. And we are at some point in the future scheduled to speak to the Health Minister. I think there's still an awful lot of questions need to be asked in relation to that story. And we hope to put those questions to her when we get an opportunity to do so. In fairness, she's not dodging us or anything. I think she told the producers that she wishes to speak first to the HSE, and then she will speak to us. Okay, the Irish Times today tells us of a damning assessment of LUH complaints process. A damning overall assessment was the affected patient's description of the Ombudsman's ordered review into Letterkenny University Hospital official complaints handling process. The review was carried out by the National Director of the HSE's Quality Assurance and Verification Division. Its aim was to ensure recommendations made in the Ombudsman's Learning to Get Better report were being actively implemented in the Donegal Hospital. The review came in the wake of a complaint made by Enda Craig to the Ombudsman regarding the abusive behaviour, in inverted commas, he received from a staff member in Letterkenny University Hospital's emergency department, and a hospital consultant's, again in inverted commas, cover-up response to his, or in quotes, sorry, in response to his initial complaints previously reported in detail in this paper. Speaking to the Irish Times, Mr. Craig, who's from Maville, said a senior hospital consultant to set out to deliberately vilify and destroy my good name and character by inventing, vilifying CCTV images, falsifying a clinical incident report, making uncorroborated statements and unfounded allegations, and threatens to apply a hazard flag against my medical file on false security grounds. Full story on the front of and inside the Irish Times today. Let's go now to the Irish Independent. Apparently, President Michael D. Higgins crossed the line with housing attack. This is according to ministers, so I suppose you're worrying people when you're dropping bombs right above their head. We probably forgot that the President is quite vocal. He kept his counsel during the COVID crisis, but now that seems to be behind us. He is opining and having very strong views on the housing crisis, but apparently we're going to hear of the minister's reaction. They were left furious at President Michael D. Higgins for describing housing policy in Ireland as our great, great failure. In a remarkable souring of relations between the Áras and Leinster House, Mr. Higgins was accused last night of having crossed the line and of standing on high moral quicksand by senior coalition figures. Well, at least he spoke out publicly. You know, where are these senior coalition figures? Give us your name, give us your comments, tell us why, rather than hiding behind a journalist. I don't mean that bad, but I mean the president's come out. He's made the statements. He's attributed his names to them. Are you really interested in what a anonymous senior minister says? I don't know. Have the courage of your convictions. Say it in public. Maybe they will. The president is now facing a furious backlash from the government for his failure to steer clear of political issues. It isn't a crisis anymore, it's a disaster, the president said yesterday, adding that basic needs of food, shelter and education should be met. One minister said the president's comments raised eyebrows among ministerial colleagues, and it was even described as embarrassing. Mr Higgins used a speech at the opening of a new supported residence facility for young adults emerging from homelessness in Kildare to say the housing isn't a crisis anymore, it's a disaster. The president's latest intervention on the housing crisis, one of his most strident to date, drew strong criticism from ministers and senior coalition figures. Maybe they are quoted, maybe they did speak publicly. Let me just quickly read through here. One minister said, no, they've done it anonymously here. One Fianna Fáil source. A spokesman for the president, well, he's been speaking out, his spokesperson speaking out, but we're only hearing what ministers and coalition figures think behind, as I say, behind the screen of a journalist there. All right, the Irish Times tells us that the new grant scheme for homes affected by defective blocks could end up costing $3.65 billion if inflation runs consistently high. Cabinet ministers have been privately warned. The enhanced scheme was originally set to cost $2.2 billion when it was agreed by Cabinet last November, but this has risen to $2.7 billion. Ministers were presented yesterday with 3 scenarios of inflation, which could mean the cost increasing from $2.7 billion to $3.65 billion, meaning that high inflation could add up to $1.5 billion on the final taxpayers' bill in the worst case scenario. Now, this is not a bill that has to be fronted right away. It's going to take time to work through the houses. This is money that is going to have to be spent over the course of a number of years, probably over the course of a number of governments. The meeting heard there is no certainty over the number of homes affected, but it's possible the problem will extend beyond Donegal, Mayo, Clare, Limerick, Sligo and Tipperary. The meeting was told that because it could take years for the damage to manifest, it's not possible to know the final cost to the Exchequer. It's also understood that the new legislation, when published, will allow for the maximum grant of €425,000 to be increased by 10% through a yearly review, which could take place up to 3 times, with another three reviews allowed if the Oireachtas agrees. The Cabinet was also told the government intends to appoint a senior counsel to investigate any wrongdoing and that anyone found to be responsible for the issues will be pursued. An insurance levy to raise $80 million a year is on the cards for 2023. We're going to be talking ourselves more about that, of course, in the coming while. Right, the Irish Daily Mail tells us that the cost of your summer holiday flight has now more than doubled, depending on the destination, with airlines hiking prices due to soaring fuel prices and runaway inflation. I wonder to people at this stage, are you booking summer holidays or would you have that done already? I think anyone booking a holiday for July or August in June would expect to see the costs go up drastically, wouldn't you? I don't recall ever holidaying in the summer or going away in the summer, so I don't know, but I would have thought if you're trying to book in June for July and August, you're going to see a huge increase in costs. But anyway, families face a hike of hundreds of euro in the cost of their summer holiday after Ryanair said that its fares have already increased for the summer months and will continue to rise by up to 10%. As I say, I would like to interview these people to find out, how normal is this increase? Are they doing it anyway? How much of it is because of their costs increase, or are they just doing what they probably do every year and gouging? Well, it's not gouging, is it? It's just it's the market, isn't it? More people want to go away, so you can charge more. The sharp increases follow soaring jet fuel prices. Now, I thought that I heard an interview with Ryanair. They'd hedged quite a bit of their fuel for this year, so I would suggest, and I'm not an expert, that these price increases happen every year, and it's how they make their money so they can sell 9.99 seats in the winter. On to the Irish Daily Star now. We've all seen films, haven't we, where the big fear is that we create technology and that technology becomes sentient, begins to be able to think for itself, and we've seen scenarios play out like in Terminator, whereby it tries to take over the world, and Ex Machina and other ones like that there. But anyway, Google has placed one of their engineers on leave after he claimed a computer chat box he was working on had developed feelings, and he's pictured here in a hoodie with the hood up. Blake Lemon was placed on leave by the tech giant last week after he published transcripts of remarkable conversations between himself and the bot, including a claim from the robot that being turned off would be like death. Blake, 41, who has been working in the language model for dialogue application since the autumn, described the artificial intelligence system as a sweet kid following interactions between the pair. He revealed that Lambda, I presume it is, had talked to him about rights and personhood, while Lemoine shared his findings with company executives in April in a document entitled Is Lambda Sentient? Okay, well, it's probably possible. On to the Sun now, and workers on the minimum wage are set for a series of pay hikes as the government looks to introduce a new living wage in Ireland. It comes as Fine Gael senators push for the introduction of a third tax ban to help middle income earners. Tánaiste Leo Varadkar announced the government's plan to end the minimum wage and replace it with a new living wage yesterday. It would see the lowest paid workers' hourly rate linked to 60% of the average rate of pay in Ireland. It means if there was a living wage in place in 2022, the minimum wage would rise from €10.50 an hour to €12.17 per hour. The Low Pay Commission will make recommendations of the new living wage rate to the government every summer, and the new rate will be published in the budget. It'll take a while to get up to that point, and of course we'll hear from the usual representative groups saying that businesses, it's going to be a big hit for them and so on and so forth. But I think for the type, I think €12 at least is it's reasonable compared to where it's at now. Particularly, I think for 18 and 19-year-olds, there's some 18-year-olds, who are adults, fully grown adults, fully fledged adults, probably have a car, may want to move out from the home. Although that's, at this point, it's a little bit more difficult. But they're on much less than someone who's 22 in many cases. If the person pays the wage as minimum as they have to. I don't never see why that's fair. If you're 18, you're 18. And as I say, you could have all the bills that a 22-year-old have. You should be paid the same as a start, as a minimum. I don't think it's fair that 18 and 19-year-olds get less money as if they're worth less. I don't understand why that was ever introduced, and I don't understand why people accept it. The Irish Daily Mirror, finally, a food delivery cyclist asked for forgiveness from the family of a teenager, Josh Dunn, yesterday as he was cleared of murder and said, "I'm sorry." Now, being acquitted with a self-defense argument in this country is very rare. So this is a particularly interesting case. But after George Gonzaga Bento was acquitted, Josh's mum insisted she will keep fighting for her boy until the day she dies. Following over 500 days in custody, the Brazilian walked out of the criminal court's justice a free man. In a 6-week trial, Mr. Bento admitted he stabbed Josh, who was 16, in the chest twice, but he insisted he was acting in self-defence after being attacked when he and a colleague tried to retrieve a stolen bike in East Wall, Dublin, in January of 2021. Leaving the court building after being acquitted, the 36-year-old embraced his partner, mother and legal team as he grasped a Bible and the book Mindful by comedian Dermot Whelan. Mr. Bento said, "I'm very grateful. I pray a lot for that. I'm not in shock. It's more emotion that I can speak. More emotion than I can speak. I beg your pardon." Radio. 086 60 25,000 WhatsApps and texts. Give us a call 07491 25,000. You can watch the show and interact with us there. Go to our website, highlandradio.com. Hi, Greg. I was listening during the week about the litter problems around Letterkenny regarding coffee cups. I've seen this post from a coffee van that's on Gwibara Bridge. Edible coffee cups. Drink your coffee and eat your cup. Genius idea. Okay, what's that like? Eating your own coffee cup. We're going to be speaking to, I think, those in that industry commenting on this latte levy, which it's being called, which could see you paying more to try and discourage you from using disposable coffee cups. Can you ask listeners, anyone have a double room available from the 17th to the 19th of June to attend the rally in Letterkenny? Now, I do see on social media a few places being advertised and suggested, but if you have a room and you want us to put you in contact with that person, get in touch with us. 086 60 25,000. All righty-o, let's take a quick break and then our first caller will be on with us.
The newspapers are courtesy of Kelly Centra, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Is your bank leaving town? Letterkenny Credit Union is now offering MyCU current account and debit MasterCard, bringing full banking features with no appointment necessary to open your account.
Donegal County Council, in association with Bryson Recycling, are holding a half-price bulky goods event at Letterkenny, Lahey and Dunlow Recycling Centres from the 7th of June to the 18th of June, during site opening times. For more information and opening times, visit donegalcoco.ie or call the council on 074 9153 900.
Do you need a little extra help staying in your home? At Bluebird Care, we offer a wide variety of QMark-approved personalised home care services across Donegal. And our fully trained and committed staff will always meet your care needs with kindness, compassion and dignity. To get your personal home care assessment plan, visit bluebirdcare.ie or call our care team today on 07491 29562 and bring care home.
In 2018, Toyota cut through the confusion, completely ceasing production of diesel passenger cars, lowering harmful emissions and providing certainty for Irish drivers everywhere. And Kelly's Toyota are proud to be part of that hybrid electric journey. Visit Kelly's Toyota, Letterkenny or Mount Charles today to see what makes Toyota Ireland's best-selling car brand in 2021 and 2022. You'll never take a wrong turn with Toyota. Built for a better world. Best-selling claim based on most recent monthly figures.
Inishowen Credit Union has recently launched Cultivate, an agricultural loan at only 6.55%, APR 6.75%. Call any of their 4 offices for more information or to make an appointment. Inishowen Credit Union, Buncrana, Carndonagh, Moville and Muff, supporting local farmers. Inishowen Credit Union is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
GiveBlood.ie know we can count on you, our community of blood donors, to give blood and to choose to be there for others in their hour of need. Blood donors from Ballybofey and Dunlow should attend the clinic in Jackson's Hotel in Ballybofey from Tuesday 14th to Thursday 16th of June. All donors need to make an appointment, so call 1-800-731-137 to book your time. New donors are welcome. Visit GiveBlood.ie to check eligibility and clinic details, because we count on you.
Okay, we welcome Pauline onto the programme now. Pauline, how are you getting on?
How are you?
Good to speak to you, and thanks for speaking to us. Right, we're going to talk to you about your daughter and what she's been through this week.
Yeah, well, it's actually just yesterday, but yes, there is a lot more in Ireland that went through the same, but I think I just need to make a stand for all the children in Ireland. Wouldn't be too good with this talking on the radio.
No, you're doing fantastic, Pauline. Just pretend we're sitting having a cup of tea at the kitchen table.
No, perfect. No, so she had her French exam yesterday at 1:30 p.m. So she had a headache the night
Now,
before.
this is the junior cert, isn't it, Pauline?
Junior
Yep.
certificate,
Okay.
sorry, yes. And so she had a headache. So doing the right thing, Mommy puts up a test to the room and do the test. So she did the test and it showed negative. But when she went to put the test in the bin, there were 2 lines. So it was like, because it's a first in our house and for all the years. And just right bang in the middle of her junior certificate, it was a bit of a shock and we didn't know what to do. And so we did the right thing, of course. So we did 2 or 3 more tests, spaced it out. And yes, they were positive. Sorry.
Right, so she has COVID according to the antigen test.
So she, according to them, yes, she does. But she was fine and in good fit form, just the sore throat the night beforehand. But we're doing the right thing. So rang the school, and it's just the school goes by the guidelines from the HSE, and so yeah, no, sure, she couldn't go in. Of course, she couldn't go in, and there was no what I was told was it's just absent from now on for the rest of the exams.
So that's her finished with the junior cert. In other words, by the time she would be deemed to be recovered, the junior cert's over.
Well, there's one more left, but going by days and stuff like that, we just need to go back on that.
Right. So the junior cert is important. Sorry, Pauline, because firstly, I'd say obviously it's we get a good idea where our students are at, and in terms of choosing courses and all that type of stuff, it's a good little platform, whether they're going into transition year or not. But also, it's the first, I think, real experience that's probably really good grounding for the leaving cert.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They need it. It is important. It's like, it's only the junior cert, because I rang the examinations board and, they taught me as good as they could. But I just felt like You know, sometimes you find that wee voice that you thought you never had. So I thought, oh, right, okay, I need more help here because I don't think anyone's listening to me. So here we are. But no, like there's a lot of, for example, woodwork. She worked so hard on her woodwork piece, as did all the rest of the students, because she's not the only one. I'm just making a stand because I know there's more.
Oh, there's more contacting us as you're speaking, Pauline. So be assured by that you're not on your own in this one. You're not an outlier.
No, absolutely. But I just thought, right, I'm just lay down under these rules. But no, I'm here and I am going to go to the end of the earth, because even if there's nothing done this year, we need to stand up for our children. And I'm not just standing up for my child or my friend's child. I'm standing up for all of Donegal. I'm standing up for all of Ireland, all the children.
What were they saying to you? Were they effectively saying, "Oh, well, sure, look, it's only the junior cert. There's no option for her to sit this again, as there is with the leaving cert."
No resets. No, like what they did the last couple of years, a predicted grade, if they like. You know, even that, and just absent. And the shocking thing is, could they even put down absent due to COVID, like to explain? Because sometimes some children do not go on to do their leaving certificate. You know, it's the way it is. And the junior certificate's looked upon. And with absent, you know, of course, you know. No,
and listen, we don't know either. And listen, we just hope we don't go down this road. We know for a fact that junior cert results were used as part of predictive grades when students couldn't correctly sit their leaving cert. So God forbid if in a year, 2 or 3 years, something like that would have happened, she's got nothing to fall back on. So,
absolutely.
Like,
a change has to be made.
So in terms of, you know, her choice courses for leaving cert, or a general overall assessment of how she's doing at school, do you feel you have that information, or were you both of you waiting on the junior cert to sort of navigate that path, Pauline?
Well, there's a few that she has to sit yet, that she won't get to sit now, that she was really working really hard for. And it's not just alone that, okay, you know, do what you're told. But no, I just think the Minister of Education there should have been a plan. Like, they started the secondary school, and then they were hit with the pandemic. They schooled at home. They worked so hard. They were absolutely terrified. So a plan should have been put in place for these students.
Yeah. And I think what we have to remember too is that a lot of people listen, I'm sure it's only the junior cert, but I would imagine, particularly given by the sounds of it, the effort that your daughter put into this was a really big milestone in her life. This was an important thing that she was looking forward to, nervous about. And now it's like, well, it doesn't really matter. You know, I don't think it sends a great message either.
No. You see, do you know what? We're all brought up where, you know, you did the right thing, and yes, that was good, but you did the wrong thing and you get disciplined for it. But, you know, it's not setting a good... Do you know what I mean? We did the right thing and it's like, bam, you know. Yeah.
And the records record, as far as we know, that she might as well have just said, you know what, stuff it, I'm not going in for my junior cert. And that does her a disservice. You know,
it's not showing a good example for our children, and as I say, all the children of Ireland, it's just not fair.
Stay with me, Pauline. I want to bring Marlene in. Marlene, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. I think Pauline singing your tune, you can relate to what she's talking about. Tell us your situation, Marlene.
Totally. I second everything Pauline just said there, and also I'd like to appreciate you for giving us the chance to voice our opinion. But likewise, I was in the same position as Pauline, but it was last week, so it was before the junior cert started. And I thought likewise I was doing the right thing. I gave them plenty notice, thinking, well, something can be in place. But I appreciate the schools can't, you know, they've got to go by the government guidelines, so that's understandable. But yeah, he missed out on English, Irish, Maths and Geography, like the core subjects. And as he said himself, he would have loved to give it a go to see what his worth was. You know, like they are studying, as Pauline said. They're told their exams are important, they're a state exam, but yet when you're told, nah, you'll just be gone, you're marked as absent, it is sending a very unclear message, like it's not important. Yeah. Like, please God, our children will go on through the leaving cert, which I know hopefully they will, but there's kids out there that the junior cert may be their only form of education to date. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's really a huge disjustice to them to not have any to not have any kind of predicted grade, as Pauline was saying, or to give the reason why marked.
Also, too, what worries me is people listen to this now, if they have a junior cert student who gets a headache or something, do they say, don't go near those antigen tests unless you don't want to do your junior cert? You know, like, without a backup plan and without supports for them, what this is actually going to do is either people will go in positive or they won't test at all because of the ramifications, losing out on the chance to do your junior cert. Because even if, let's say, there's a non-alcoholic disco at the end of this, you know, I know this is not important, right?
No,
but with young people, you know, there'll probably be a bit of banter there, and they're at it going, well, I didn't even do my junior cert. As I say, no, it's not important, but we have to try and put our heads in a 16, 15-year-old's minds as well, too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like last week when I was in this situation, I kind of felt alone. I was like, I cannot be the only parent in this situation, you know, in the whole of Ireland or anywhere. And when nobody was making a fuss, like, don't get me wrong, a friend of mine contacted the education correspondent for RTE, and she said they had basically a system for the leaving cert students. Obviously, they get to reset them, but because junior cert is not needed for your CV or for entrance into college, then that's why there was nothing put in place for the junior cert, which isn't good enough, really.
Yeah, but as both of you have mentioned at this stage, for some of us, that is your only record of your education.
Yeah.
If you decide to do something else. And it couldn't be too hard, Pauline, could it, I don't know what the numbers are like, but to have them resit this exam, you know, if it's not that important in inverted commas and we know it's different, well then, you know, put aside a class or a day and let them go through the process and just...
Absolutely.
Totally
there's
agree.
classes for, you know, different students. You know, they should have thought this through. Like, COVID, you know, is still here. You know, and you know what? Maybe next year it probably could be as well. Please God not. But you know what? You know, there's plans that need to be put in place. And I'm so disgusted that the Minister of Education didn't think this through. Or, like, is there any answers? It's just, that's it, full stop, end of.
And you made the similar point. You made the same point too, Marlene. You know, if we're in the endemic stage, next year or the year after, we're still probably going to be told to stay at home if we test positive for COVID. So this is not just a 1 year thing necessarily. We should have a plan for future years as well.
Totally, and that's why I'm doing this, because I have other kids. Oisin's the oldest of 5. Like, I have my goddaughter doing the junior cert next year, my son and my niece the following year. So, like, I will be in the system for quite some time, and I would like to see changes made if possible. It may not help our kids this year, but it has to help the future years. Like,
are you looking forward to the college fees, Marlene?
Not really.
Because it sounds like they're all going to be coming all at the kind of the one time.
Yes, they're all stepping stones.
Yeah, all right. Listen, both of you, thanks so much for raising this issue. We're going to make our own inquiries as well. I just think, you know, we don't listen. Sometimes we talk about our children, but we don't listen to them, and we don't know what it's like. You do, of course, but you know what it's like for your young one, Marlene, and your one, Pauline, as well. You know, and the hundreds of others that are affected by this, and how it makes them feel different, or that they haven't achieved what their peers have. You know, like, it's not the most important thing in the world, but it's probably the most important thing to those two young people this week and last week.
Yeah, here and now. Yeah.
All right, listen, both of you, well done. Thanks for that. And
thank you.
We really appreciate your time, and that's what we're here for. Marlene and Pauline, they're both expressing their concerns in relation to that. We would have known it was coming. We could have planned for it. 086 60 25,000 WhatsApps or texts to that number. We were talking yesterday to one person who was having difficulty getting through to their GP, and my word, did it snowball. And we thought it was maybe one particular area. And it's not. It's right across the county. And then, of course, a good number of people contacting us saying that you know, their GP's fantastic. So it varies from area to area. I'll get to those comments, but I'll stay on this topic because Councillor Niamh Kennedy joins us now. Good morning to you, Niamh. You're listening to Pauline, listening to Marlene. As I say, it's probably one of those ones you don't know if you should raise or not, because people inevitably are going to say, sure, look, it's only the junior cert. But I think they both articulated it better than I. To their students, it's much more than just the junior cert.
totally and utterly, and I completely concur.
And
with,
can I stop
Pauline.
before
Yeah.
and just congratulate you, by the way, on being the new Cathaoirleach of the Donegal Municipal District. It's a really significant achievement in local politics. So congratulations to you in relation to that. Right, okay, come on.
Thanks very much, Greg.
What were you going to say about Pauline and Maureen?
Pauline contacted me last night, and you can tell there today that she's very passionate about this, and rightly so. I mean, her child has gone through school. They've gone to the stage. They've been so good. They've done their studies. They've gone through 2 very difficult years, in all fairness. All the children have. And then at the last minute to end up sick and not able to sit an exam is really disappointing for them, particularly the children who work really, really, really hard and want to get, to achieve the best, and their parents are watching them and looking after them. So the passion is there with Pauline and Marlene and other parents as well. And I've had other parent contact me as well on this issue. They're just disappointed that the children can't sit. The time will come when the results are out, and then they're differentiated by an absenteeism mark on their paper, which is really, really unfair, and particularly when they work so hard to do it. So if they can do it for the Leaving Cert, I know the Leaving Cert is much more important, but at the same time, at the stage in those children's lives, it's very important for them to have that piece of paper to say, look, I got this grade. And if they can't do that, I think it's disappointing, and it's disappointing for the children and the parents that have gone through so much in the last couple of years.
Yes, of course, but also too, there is a practical implication. Yeah. That is a practical implication as well. But my understanding is say, for instance, that it turns out you're not as academic as others, that your skill set is not in books, it's in another area, and you want to apply for a course or a job or something. If you have the junior cert, particularly if you did quite well in it, that can be an advantage to you. It can actually maybe even be how you can get onto a course or an apprenticeship, not exclusively, but there are going to be scenarios there. We need to be giving them something to fall back on if they choose not to do the Leaving Cert, or if they don't do as well in the Leaving Cert, there could be a bereavement in the family or something like that. You know yourself, Niamh, these things happen, but we're robbing them the opportunity of having a junior cert to fall back on, or to reference, or to at least say they did bother turning up, because the records kind of would reflect that they didn't, which we know that not to be the case.
Exactly. I mean, there's nothing as nice to be able to open up a piece of paper or certificate to say, look how I did, this is great. Or on the other hand, it could be, we'll just throw that in the bin. Whatever it might be, each child is different. And
it could be the kick up the bum as well, too, Niamh.
Absolutely.
Like say, for instance, I think lots of people listening, their young ones didn't do great in the junior cert, and it was like that was the catalyst to them do really well in the Leaving Cert, for example. It's part of the process, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. You get, we better do better than that, and get working on it. Absolutely. So, no, it's very important for them that this is highlighted, and rightly so. And I'm very glad that Pauline Marlin came on and spoke about this morning. And I'll be on to the department as well to see if there's anything that can be done. Most likely not this year, but let's face it, let's at least try and recognise and acknowledge the fact that these parents have been on and that these children are bitterly disappointed.
Yeah, it can't be beyond us to sort this out. But anyway, Niamh, thanks for your time this morning, and congratulations again on your elevation to Cathaoirleach of the Donegal Municipal District. Well done. Okay. A caller says the Leaving Cert is pointless, never mind the junior cert. And I know I get that that's going to be some people's views, and I think the older you get, and particularly if you're on your path, you realise that maybe it's not quite as important as it may have seemed. I get that. My son is doing the Leaving Cert, and he says there are a number of his friends who say they have a load of symptoms and not testing because they don't want to have to face another year of studying. Yeah, I can understand that, and I can see even more doing it now, particularly junior cert students. My son told me yesterday that he had a bad headache and wasn't testing because he just couldn't face another year repeating. We fought it out, but I decided I had to respect his decision to not test. I only agreed because he assured me no one in his class had any underlying health conditions. And in the absence of, rules, guidelines and rules and regulations, that's proving the point I was trying to make earlier. People will make their own decisions. Some of you will agree, some of you will disagree. Okay, I want to read these comments on these surgeries, by the way. Hi, Greg. So glad you're highlighting this topic of surgery negligence. I've been trying my GP for weeks to get bloods done. Very low energy, etc. I've been cancelled twice because they said the lab is on strike. Their attitude on the phone is absolutely disgraceful, and I've been very rude on the phone. At this stage now, Doc is the only option for me and the children. Now, in fairness, there was a period of over the course of 2 weeks where there was strike action and tests would not have been done. and I presume blood goes out of date. But that was 2 weeks ago now at this point, so it's not a valid excuse anymore, I don't believe. I was ringing my surgery this morning during your first conversation about the delays. After 3 or 4 tries, I got through and was able to get an appointment for a time I requested. That is good that you had that positive experience. On Facebook, a caller says, I always email my doctor's surgery as I can never get through on the phones. They always respond immediately or within the hour with help and advice, either an appointment or a prescription, as the phones are impossible to get through on. Okay, that's one person's experience there. Right, 086 60 25,000. Already loads of you texting into the programme. Keep them coming. We'll get to all of them, I guarantee you, today. Or give us a call on 07491 25,000 if texting is not your thing. And also, too, by the way, you can always feel free if you want to. We want everyone to feel that they can contact us in a way that's comfortable to them. You can always send in a voice message to us as well on WhatsApp, 086 60 25,000. Okay. Right, let's take a break. Then we're going to find out what the MAGA Action Group think of the announcement yesterday. Well, it wasn't an announcement. The approval, well, it was kind of announced, wasn't it, by the Cabinet to the Enhanced Mica Redress Scheme.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Now offering mortgages with life cover provided at no additional cost. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Do you suffer from high cholesterol, menopause symptoms, digestive issues, anxiety, aches and pains, or a lack of energy? The highly trained team at The Natural Way Letterkenny can provide advice on natural remedies for a number of individual health issues. The Natural Way also has its own brand of herbal treatments to help fight fatigue, relieve digestive discomfort, maintain a healthy immune system, and alleviate common menopause symptoms. The Natural Way at Letterkenny Shopping Centre, your one-stop health shop.
Too many lives continue to be lost on our roads. There is still a cohort of motorists who drive dangerously and risk the lives of all road users. Driving at excessive speed or driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs will destroy lives. We all need to take personal responsibility and not take unnecessary risks that put our lives or the lives of others in danger. Slow down. Never drink or drug drive, and keep the race in its place. A message from the Donegal Road Safety Working Group.
The final O'Neill Sportswear Massive Warehouse Clearance starts at 9 a.m. on Friday 17th of June and ends Sunday 19th of June. For the final time, County GAA jerseys, leisure wear, including t-shirts, tracksuit bottoms, half-zips, hoodies and jackets, all reduced to clear. The sale will take place at O'Neill Sportswear Warehouse of the Melmount Road, Strabane.
If you're getting married, the in-house design team in BizPrint can get all your wedding stationery and signage needs customised to your requirements. Just visit weddinginvites.ie or call BizPrint at Port Road, Letterkenny on 9177955.
Your energy savings start right here, right now with Bord Gosh Energy. New and existing customers can save up to €988 with our best dual fuel offer. Find out more at boardgoshenergy.ie. Discounts on our standard unit rates for 12 months with fixed term dual fuel contract. Annual savings figure compared to BGE standard rates. Offer available to new and existing single fuel customers. EAB of €2,078. Unit rate and standing charge apply. See boardgoshenergy.ie for EAB prices and full T's and C's.
Okay, so Minister for Housing Darragh O'Brien has received government approval for the new enhanced MICA scheme. It's a $2.7 billion scheme. Grant rates in keeping with the construction cost report prepared by the Society of Chartered Surveyors Ireland. A government guarantee in regard to remediation works other than full demolition and rebuild. A second grant might be available there. Questionable logic, but anyway. A revised application process which removes the financial barrier to the scheme. Alternative accommodation and storage costs and immediate repair works to a maximum value of €25,000 within the overall grant cap. The housing agency playing a key role under the enhanced scheme by taking on financial costs of testing and assessing homes and determining on behalf of the local authorities the appropriate remediation options and grant rate for each dwelling. The extension of the enhanced scheme beyond the current scope of principal private residence only to also cover rented dwellings registered with the RTB on or before the 1st of November 2021. Inclusion of Clare and Limerick in the enhanced scheme upon commencement, and exempt development status under planning legislation for remediation works carried out under the defective concrete blocks grant scheme on a like-for-like basis. Right, okay. Michael Doherty, PRO of the MICA Action Group, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg.
I'm kind of break this down into the most basic terms for my benefit and for those who want to cross it as much as others. How close are we to this being the scheme?
It's not that far away, Greg, and I think that's probably the disappointing part. You know, there was an opportunity missed yesterday to get this over the line. There's an opportunity that we could have turned around and said, we believe we now have a pathway without further campaigning. They knew what they needed to do to make that happen. We had talked a lot of that stuff over the last 6 months, and movement was, you know, there was certainly movement, and the disappointing part yesterday was that they sort of resorted back to the position that they had in November, which made us feel that a lot of the work we did over the last 6 months was a complete waste of time. That was very frustrating for us.
Right, what's missing?
Yeah, well, we're missing things like the inclusion of inflation in there. Okay, so we know that we need the figures that were SCSI independent figures. They were valid on the 28th of February, valid for the scope of work that they were allowed to price for. They had one hand tied up behind their back because the department dictated the terms of reference. And for example, you know, you had to be working to 15-year-old standards that you can't now do. So you're going to have to pay the difference yourself. Government knew that when they put that in place. You don't have the foundations included in there. You don't even have a carpet in your home. There's no finishes. And everybody knows there's thousands to be spent in finishing a home after you get a shelf.
So
all of that
was
left
is this
out.
an 80-20 scheme then?
Yeah, I would say what you're looking at closer to is somewhere between 80 and 90% for a lot of people. That means homeowners out tens of thousands. And that's an issue for us. And they could close that gap very easily. And on that one, Greg, we are in the game of offering solutions. The solution we offered in that case was that if you're not going to give us a true 100% redress for the house we had, then give us 100% true redress for a smaller house.
Yeah, that's not going to be for everyone either, though.
With the same grant. But listen, we're in the solutions business. We're trying to find a solution for every category of issue, Greg. And one of them is the amount of people that are saying, listen, we don't have we don't have borrowing capacity. We can't go to a bank. We need to take whatever grant money the government has given us and make the best of it. We have no other options.
Okay.
And we said, okay, so what about these people if they were prepared to downsize, which should be helping the Green manifesto? It also allows this whole thing about, they were talking about these mansions in Donegal. Okay, for homeowners that are prepared to do it, and you're just giving them a choice, prepared to downsize to a smaller house, let them use the grant that the government is going to give them anyway and spend it on a true 100% basis for that smaller house. And that was really, really happening. We were right on the edge of that happening, and they pulled it back yesterday. Massively disappointed, and that locked out a lot of people from a true pathway to 100% redress.
This isn't 100% redress for anyone, this scheme. So it's completely unacceptable.
Yes, not as it stands. It's not, and that's why we've said we have to reject this here, Greg. Unfortunately, there was an opportunity to do it the easy way yesterday, based on good faith and negotiations that were at really, really strong positions, and they pulled back from the edge yesterday for whatever reason, and it looks like they're going to make us put in the hard yards now through compressed PLS and amendments.
Talk to me
so
about
compressed
PLS, because what the majority of people listening to would have heard pre-legislative scrutiny, okay?
Yeah.
That the government wished to bypass that. They're going to ask the Housing Committee to bypass that. So are you describing the debate in the Dáil as PLS now? Like, what do you mean by compressed PLS?
No, so what we did say, Greg, all along was that there was an opportunity for what we talked about, accelerated PLS. That's basically a process. And if you're going to do the whole thing to the letter of the law, you could be several weeks. That's fair enough. But we identified an opportunity to do it through a compressed or accelerated PLS, and that really means that you've got the 6 key stakeholders in a one-day event, but they get to air their views on what's going on. They get to be cross-examined by the Joint Housing Committee. The 6 key stakeholders, number one is the Housing Department. They have to stand over some of the stuff that they have in here that doesn't make sense. For example, IS 465 that doesn't include foundations or deleterious materials. They have to speak up on that. You also have the Housing Agency, who are the people that are going to be overseeing this entire scheme. You also have SCSI, who are the people that put together the rates, and I want them to say that their hands were tied behind their back, and what they were forced to do was to price for not a modern day house, But for a house that was 15 years old and exclusions on top of that, I need them to say that. And then you have got Engineers Ireland, who are the engineers, the likes of the Ambrose McCluskeys and these guys that have said from day one there's been an issue. They get a chance to say it as a body representing Engineers Ireland. You've got the homeowner representatives who will be there. And then you also have what other experts we may want to include and we can get to hand to come in to argue our case on a professional capacity on our basis on a one-day wonder.
Right, where we're at the moment, though, right, is that it could be, let's just, an arbitrary figure, 80-20. By the time everything's done, let's call it an 80-20 scheme. So it's less than the 90-10 scheme that didn't turn out to be that. We also have a situation whereby the engineers will not sign off on work that's being done. We have the government have announced that we'll fix the outer leaf. If the inner leaf starts cracking, well, you can come back and we'll fix that. Obviously, that doesn't make a lot of sense to a lot of people, okay? But they're persistent with that. So engineers aren't going to sign off on this work. There is no scheme. I'm not trying to be dramatic, Michael, by the way, but on the basis of those two things, right, there's nothing here that people travel down to Dublin to march for.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And, you know, the people and the questions that you have just asked, we will have the right people to speak for themselves as opposed to us speaking on their behalf, the likes of the engineers that are saying we can't sign off on what's here, right? So that's the opportunity that we won. That was the one win that we had yesterday in our negotiations with Kevin Dillon and John O'Connor and Sligo yesterday, that we come away with this compressed PLS, and it allows the People's Day in Court in front of the Joint Housing Committee.
But yesterday,
and that's a good start.
You would have heard the exchange between Padraig McLaughlin and the Taoiseach yesterday. Paraphrasing, Padraig McLaughlin said the importance of PLS. Micheál Martin said effectively, you know what happens if this goes to pre-ledge. It'll get bogged down, it'll get caught up. We need to get things going now. We need to start getting houses fixed. He referenced the 300 odd houses the council have. So, I mean, the Taoiseach seems to be suggesting that this is going to bypass pre-legislative scrutiny, but you're saying there's a compact version of it. Do you know what I mean? So again, I just want to clarify that for those that feel that those two things are a contradiction. Yeah, well, you've got the longhand version and the shorthand version. The longhand version was what we asked for because we believe that it still gives more time to, maybe put, in the back of things, issues that arise from a meeting, they may take a week to come back with answers. We don't have that luxury, but we do have the compressed version. Let me give you a scenario now, then, Michael. Let me give you a scenario, right? So you know for a fact, everyone knows out there now at this stage the concerns, say, engineers have, right? And foundations. Okay, so the Housing Committee is government dominated, okay? It's made up by majority government members. What faith do we have that in any way, even if they hear these experts, they will not go, well, on the balance of everything that's going on, we're going to approve the scheme as the government has suggested? That's the likely outcome of that, surely. Yeah, good point. And I'd say the response to that is that this is now documented. They can't say that they're not aware. The experts will have spoken. It will be documented. The report will be furnished to the government, and the government then have to acknowledge that, and they have to acknowledge it and accept it, or acknowledge it and reject it. The fact is they'll have to acknowledge it, and that's the first time. That's something they wouldn't have had to do if we didn't have any form of PLS. So that leaves them in a very difficult position. That's documented, that's on record for evermore amen. And if they deliberately turn down and reject what is very plausible evidence-based recommendations, then on their head be it. Yeah, but that's where the difference lies. But what happens next, though? Because that's where we're going, Michael. And I hate to be pessimistic. This is 90-10 all over again. It feels just like the conversations I was having on this programme and ahead of that. And I hope I'm proven wrong. But it looks like, what does that mean then? Like, let's say, for instance, the majority is one. Joe McHugh has said he won't accept nitpicking. He will only back this if the families back it, right? Your group backs it, okay? If this comes if it's sorted by way of a vote in the Dáil, does Joe McHugh abstain and vote against the government and the majority is gone? Like, what do you mean by take them down? What does that mean? Yeah, so maybe just, I think this part's important before I answer that part, and I will answer it, as you know.
The first part is they could have done it easy yesterday, they didn't. There is another opportunity for them to get it right. That is through this compressed PLS, and then also through the amendments that will be tabled by us and by opposition that will go through the floors of the Oireachtas, the Dáil and the Seanad. They'll be discussed, to be voted on, and then government have to then take them overall amendments, the series of amendments that comes from the Oireachtas process, that comes from the compressed PLS process, and accept them or reject them. If they accept them, then we're all good. And they didn't do it the easy way yesterday, but at least we would have it on the 15th of July through that process of amendments. If they, on the other hand, still reject it outright, that's when we press that trigger and we say, the safety catch has been off the campaign shotgun here. This has been teeing up for some time. We have opposition lined up reasonably well now at this point in time. Just before your call, I had a phone call from Ivana, the head of the Labour Party. Yeah. So all of this, we're teeing up in the background here. Government are well aware of that. We had a very strong meeting yesterday with Kevin Dillon and John O'Connor. They know that government are vulnerable. They know that we know government are vulnerable. And we know Joe McHugh cannot say we're nitpicking if we're going to be costing homeowners tens of thousands of euros.
So in fairness, he said the government can't seem to be nitpicking.
That's exactly right. And, Joe has to stand by that. I hope Joe does that. And I actually think he will. I like to think he got shafted with a 90-10 scheme also, let's not forget. So he's also been, ploughing a lone furrow for a long time here. This is his opportunity. But at the end of the day, he's going to have to man up, as he said he would. I hope and I do expect him to do that. We have got every TD in these affected counties that are now going to have to walk the plank. They are either going to back their people or their party. And that's assuming that the party doesn't do the right thing by the 15th of July. That is the horizon we're fixed on. After that, there's no holds barred. Government goes as far as we're concerned. We're not going to spend another day with them. And our focus of our campaign is completely on exposing the vulnerability of this government and the TDs that are within it. The government goes, but the TDs go along with it. And I don't think them TDs can ever walk back into their own county with their head held high. That'll be the price they pay for turning their back on their people.
Yes, but do you have a ceiling to be reached? In other words, you have to be very clear. And when I say you, by the way, I'm talking about the Micah Action movement, the Defective Bloc movement. How far do they have to come? Is it inclusion of foundations? Is it to see about other defective materials?
Yeah.
Are those the two things that if they say right, okay, then that's it? We have to come to a point where something is acceptable. Is that it?
Yeah. We have got. They know exactly what they need to do, Greg. They know exactly. It's been tabled for them. They know exactly what it is they need to do. They've just been reluctant to do it. There's a series of things, but there are a few big ones in there. One of them is that downsizing opportunity. That's a zero additional cost to the state. Right now, to not allow that is both cruel and vindictive. That's all you could say about that, because it doesn't cost them one extra penny. What they're hoping to do is that they can claw money back. That's just not acceptable. The cap at 420 excluded 18% of our people whenever that was first announced on the 30th of November. Due to inflation and no other reason, that now rises to a third of our people, not 18%. The way that you get to 18% is to move your cap up to 460. That's a red line for us. They have to go there. That's just inflation. That's 9.5% increase. That's the world we're in here. We have other things in there as well regarding the IS 465 that needs to be reviewed. They've been sitting on their hands on this, Greg, for months, and they're going nowhere. They know what they need to do, Greg. They're holding off doing it as long as they possibly can. But the gun will be to their head on the 15th of July.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, okay, Michael. Listen, thanks for your time as always. I really do appreciate it. All right, take care of yourself. Michael Doherty there, peer of the Mike Action Group. Back with your reactions and more after the news and obituary notices.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Walk the line once again with the multi-award-winning Johnny Cash and June Carter tribute show Cash Returns. Celebrate the music of the Man in Black at the Millennium Forum Derry on Saturday 18th of June. Limited tickets are available now at the box office. That's Cash Returns live at the Millennium Forum Derry on Saturday the 18th of June.
It started out so simply. It was only a limp. My walking stick is now a wheelchair. I am 50 years old and a dad of 2. My name is Mark Dignam and I have motor neuron disease.
Drink tea for MND this June and help Mark and over 400 families. Every kettle boiled and cup of tea made supports someone with MND. See imnda.ie.
Since she got her free hearing aids with her PRSI at Specsavers, Roisin is a changed woman. Music has never sounded better, and that makes her dance. And dance. And dance. Her singing, though, well...
Free hearing aids with PRSI at Specsavers. Music to your ears. Find out more online. Terms and conditions apply.
Tickets are now on sale for Century Complex VIP meal deal, which includes a 2-course meal and backstage, admission to selected movies in Century Cinema's VIP screens, a combo with popcorn, soft drink and a free refill, all for $33.95 per person. For further information and to get your tickets, visit centurycinemas.ie.
Are you a nurse or someone wanting to develop a career in private healthcare? Are you interested in working with a locally owned, rapidly expanding company? At Kingsbridge Private Hospital in Ballykelly, we're recruiting for a number of clinical and non-clinical roles. Vacancies are available in nursing, sterile services, administration, laundry, stores and procurement. Interested in finding out more? Come along to our open day anytime from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Wednesday the 22nd of June. Visit teamkph.com for details.
Looking for the ultimate makeover for your home? Revive a special room conservatory or sunroom? Look no further. Hardwood Plantation Shutters is your answer. A stunningly beautiful piece of furniture that will totally enhance the look and bring ambience to any area of your home. Luxurious and classically modern, and manufactured here in the Northwest. Any size, shape or colour. Call or check out our website, Plantation Shutters Ireland. Also on Facebook and Instagram.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. The MICA Action Group says, as it stands, the enhanced MICA redress scheme approved by Cabinet last evening does not meet the needs of local homeowners. Housing Minister Darragh O'Brien says he's satisfied that it does and it will help them rebuild their homes and their lives. However, the Action Group PRO Michael Doherty says while elements of the new scheme are close, it's not yet right. It doesn't address issues such as foundations and the inclusion of other deleterious materials. He says the focus now goes on what amendments will be proposed during what's going to be a very limited pre-legislative scrutiny process.
They know what it was they needed to do. It was very clearly laid out. The shame in some ways is that it's not a million miles away, but there are some fundamental things that they need to take into account, and they seem to still be reluctant to go there. We will be getting a compressed version of PLS, which we did ask for, which shouldn't affect the overall timelines. The amendments that come from that are the hard yards that's left for this government. They either do it then, or we just have to call it a day with this government and move on.
The new Cathaoirleach of the Donegal Municipal District says the housing crisis in the county is becoming very worrying, particularly with the number of young people who don't have somewhere to live. Councillor Niamh Kennedy was elected to the chair, with Councillor Tom Connahan as her deputy. Councillor Kennedy says it will be a challenging year, but she believes it'll be a productive one. She says the Donegal MD has a tradition of collaborative cooperation, and she says that was exemplified when they received funding for 2 major bridge projects.
We do work well together. As I say, everybody has kind of their own maybe main areas that they would tend to focus on, but we all support each other on that. Obviously, there's going to be times when people don't altogether agree, but that's democratic, and that's what we're there for, to support the people who've elected us. We work well together. Bridges were a big testament to that. At the time, Donegal Town Bridge and Central Bridge went together for funding, and Donegal is now finished. Central now is on the way.
The EU is expected to take firm action against the UK today over new legislation that undermines part of the Northern Ireland Protocol. European commissioners are meeting in Brussels. They're expected to relaunch legal proceedings against Britain, which were frozen last year. The new laws, introduced by Boris Johnson's government, would see goods, including agri-food supplies and pets, delivered without checks to the island of Ireland. A woman's been attacked by masked men in what police are describing as an aggravated burglary in the Fountain Hill area of Derry. Police say shortly before 10:15 last night, 4 masked men entered a flat and forced their way into a room where they struck the female occupant, aged in her 40s, on the leg and hands with weapons including hammers. They also caused extensive damage to the flat by smashing windows, doors and other furnishings. The 4 plus 2 accomplices who waited outside made off in the direction of the top of the hill. Woman sustained what are being described as minor injuries, but police say they're very distressed. They're appealing for witnesses. Donegal County Council is to carry out a review of vacancy and dereliction across the county, with the possibility of potential compulsory purchase orders and other measures to promote regeneration and provide housing options. The review will draw on a high-level examination of vacancy in the region that was recently published by the Northern and Western Regional Assembly. A vacant homes officer will be appointed to follow through with identified priorities. The issue was raised this week by Councillor Ian McGarvey. He told Letterkenny Milford Municipal District that while there's been a lot of discussion, there has not been much progress. He says it's time for the council to engage directly with the owners of derelict buildings.
People with property in that state, it can be either an asset or a liability. And it's about time we realise that we say that people who hold them, at least we have an obligation to discuss with them and see what the way forward, because the way forward is the councils were going to be able to actually place a tax on vacant properties as well as, would say, dereliction. So I would only be hopeful. I couldn't stress enough the importance of proactively dealing with what we're sitting with every day discussing and no progress.
Groups representing hotels and the tourism sector will defend high accommodation prices when they appear before TDs and senators today. It follows accusations of price gouging, with people reporting being charged hundreds of euro for a one-night hotel stay, especially when big events are on. Hotel bosses say bed shortages and strong demand means many average-sized hotel rooms sell out months in advance. The Oireachtas Tourism Committee will hear from the Irish Hotels Federation, Fáilte Ireland and the Irish Tourism Industry Confederation. The chair of the Tourism Committee, Deputy Niamh Smith, says some of the prices being quoted by hotels are simply unaffordable.
It does make it very difficult for people who are either going to concerts or whatever that might be, to be faced with a hotel bed costing €300. And it's beyond most people's reach to pay out that kind of money for a hotel bed. But definitely in the city centre, prices have always been, I suppose, that more expensive, particularly at peak season.
Well, the forecast and Met Éireann tell us it will be dull today, rather cloudy with a possibility of some light rain. Winds will be southwest to southerly in direction, in top temperatures of around 14 to 16 degrees Celsius this afternoon. And that's Highland Radio News for now. We're back with news again at 11 o'clock. Until then, from the news team, have a very good morning. The obituary notices for this Wednesday morning, the 15th of June. The death has taken place of Seamus Boyle, Rnli, Manor Cunningham. Seamus's remains are reposing at his late residence and will remain at his home while Requiem Mass is being offered at All Saints Church, Newton Cunningham, on Friday morning at 10 o'clock. It can be viewed live on churchservices.tv. Funeral cortege leaving his home at 11:30. Travelling via Rnli Bray and down the Knox, going to Lakelands Crematorium in Cavan for private cremation. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Motor Neuron Disease Association, care of any family member. The death has occurred of Teresa Macaulay, Keshens Newton Cunningham, formerly of Brocka St Johnson. Teresa will repose at her late residence in Newton Cunningham from 12 noon today. Funeral from there on Friday afternoon at 12:30, going to All Saints Church, Newton Cunningham, for 1 o'clock Requiem Mass, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Mass can be viewed on newtonkillayparish.com. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Donegal Hospice, Letterkenny, care of any family member or Kelly's Funeral Directors. Family time, please, from 10 p.m. to 12 noon. The death has occurred of Thomas Cannon, Teeling Street, Ballymote, County Sligo, formerly of Killybegs. Thomas will repose at his residence in Ballymote from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. today. Removal from there tomorrow to the Church of the Immaculate Conception, Ballymote, to arrive for Mass of the Resurrection at 12 noon. Burial afterwards in St Columba's Cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Irish Heart Foundation. Funeral Mass will be live streamed on the Ballymote Parish website. The death has taken place in England of Tony McClintock, formerly of Moneycregan, Newton Cunningham. Memorial Mass will take place at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning in All Saints Church, Newton Cunningham, with interment of Tony's ashes afterwards in the adjoining churchyard. Family flowers only, please. The death has taken place of Francie McElhinney, Bunlinver Gwydor, originally of Cashel Nagor, Gortha Hork. His remains are reposing at his home with Rosary at 8 o'clock tonight. Funeral Mass in St Columkills Church, Knockfella, tomorrow morning at 11 with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The Funeral Mass can be viewed live on Kieran Rorty, Funeral Director's Facebook page. House private, please, from 9 o'clock tonight and before the funeral tomorrow. And the death has taken place of Sam Buchanan, Ross Garrow, Milford. His remains are reposing at his home. Funeral service in Milford Presbyterian Church this afternoon with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The service is at 2 o'clock. That funeral service can be viewed on Patrick Sweeney, Funeral Director's Facebook page. Family time, please, today before the funeral. Family flowers only, please. Donations, if desired, to the Irish Motor Neuron Disease Association, care of Annie, family member. For more details, including Annie Family Health Guidelines for wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
The best music on your station.
And you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show here on Highland Radio. Keep your calls and comments coming into us, 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000, or call us on 074 91 25,000. Right, we've lots to get through, so we're going to get on to the bingo numbers for you shortly. Don't forget the jackpot tomorrow is €7,800. Now, books are on sale now for €5 each, so it's €1 per day to play. And we do hope you do. But of course, as always, we only want you to do it if you can afford it and it's for fun. But if you can and you enjoy your bingo and you enjoy in supporting good causes, no better cause than the National Council for the Blind of Ireland. And all the money you raise for them, and it is not insignificant, is spent in the local community too. So you're helping your fellow county people as well. So we have the jackpot of €7,800. If you've never played before, I'll just give you some examples of the daily prize winning books which have been purchased all over the region. Here's a few recent examples. In Solo in Carndonagh, they recently sold a book. The daily prize was €1,600. That was collected by a listener there. Another €600 one in Alexander Stranoller. Another €600 at Blaney's Kerry-Keel. Another €500 at McElhenny's Manor. And another €500 at SuperValue in Ballybuffet. The daily prize, you see, starts at €400 and increases every day by €200 until such time as it is won. So there's significant daily prizes there and a great jackpot prize for you tomorrow, €7,800. But as I say, it's about supporting the National Council for the Blind of Ireland, and all the money you raise, and as I say, it's tens and tens and tens of thousands of euro that gets spent in the local community helping service users in this part of the world. So good luck if you are playing. Thank you for playing, and well done to you for playing. Here are the numbers.
It's time for Ncbi Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Wednesday the 15th of June. You're playing on the blue sheet. The reference number is S18. It's game number 24. The numbers are 75, 65, 23, 45, 34, 57, 81, 3, 88, and finally 13. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI Bingo information at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
New this week in Home Store and More. All summer duvets are half price. But better hurry, because when all our half-price summer duvets are gone, they're gone. Also, all outdoor cushions are still half price. But when all our half-price outdoor cushions are gone, they're definitely gone. Order online before 2 p.m. for next day delivery, or drop by your local Home Store and More. Home Store and More. A happy home.
When it comes to searching for a holiday, Atlantic Travel and Letterkenny deal with all the major tour operators from Dublin and Belfast to find you the best deals available. A week in the sun, a cruise, or maybe a short break. Whatever suits, you can book in confidence with Atlantic, knowing your holiday is protected should something go wrong. Take the hassle and worry out of your holiday booking with the award-winning Atlantic Travel, St Oliver Plunkett Road, Letterkenny. For a quote today, see Facebook, visit atlantictravel.ie or call 9126193.
Quick, write this number down. 91 48 234. Fleming Doors, you know, industrial doors, garage doors, agri doors, insulated doors, milking parlour doors. Fleming, 91 48 234.
The all-new Kia Niro and e-Niro are coming. Available in a plug-in hybrid and full electric version. All-new styling and all-new technology. This car will blow you away. Currently taking orders with stock arriving in July and August. Call us today or visit our website imotors.ie.
It's National Water Safety Awareness Week, and on beaches, rivers and lakes, lifeguards are getting ready for a busy summer. You can help by getting ready too. This is Water Safety Ireland, and this summer our message is to heed our heroes. Lifeguards from all over Ireland have shared their top water safety advice at watersafety.ie. Take it to heart. Make water safety part of the conversation around your dinner table. Visit watersafety.ie and remember, better safe than sorry. Supported by the Government of Ireland.
And you're very welcome back to the programme. We're joined in studio now by BG Gobala Kusanen, who's Secretary of the Crandy Meaning Resolution. Thank you so much for calling in and seeing us.
Thank you for the invite.
It's great to have you with us. Now, we're speaking about a new Indian and cultural organisation which has been established in Letterkenny. It's a branch in Letterkenny, is it? It's part of a nationwide group, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, tell us a little bit about it.
Crandy, I would say it is a social organisation. It is established to integrate the Indian community in Ireland. It has 8 units across the Ireland, and it is established in the year of 2017. So Crandy aims to bring a positive change to the society through its activity. Crandy always engage in activities which have some social relevance, not like other Indian associations. They'd always do the entertaining and the cultural things. So Crandy's activities always aims on the social.
Whilst the other organisations are doing good things, yours is a different focus and maybe more targeted in terms of integration and what have you.
Yes, we do, yeah.
I wonder, is everyone aware that in Letterkenny alone, and we're talking about all of Donegal, but in Letterkenny alone there are 200 Indian families, mostly working in medical fields, in IT, is that correct?
Yeah, it is. Mostly in the medical field. Most of them are the nurses, and some of them are working in the IT departments.
And generally speaking, are these families moved here permanently, or are they living here through the terms of a contract, or maybe everybody's situation is different, BG?
Yeah, everybody's situation is different, but most of them are planning to live here for long term. Because Ireland always welcomes the different nationalities, and there is a wide opportunity for the medical personals in Ireland. So I think that most of them aim to live here long.
And do you think the majority of Indian families here feel like part of the Indian community living in Ireland, or part of the Ireland community?
Well, Indians are very friendly people, and they always willing to engage with the local Irish people. So even in our organization, Kranti, on the last time we have conducted the May Day commemoration. So that time we invited the different the political parties and the trade unions in Ireland. So we always work hand in hand with the Irish people.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
But do you think there's more for us to do?
With the the local support, we can't do anything. It is like a mutual thing.
Yeah. Okay. So you had the first meeting of the Grandy recently. Where do you want, Grandy? Where do you want to see it going over the next while? What further work needs to be done? Do you believe?
In seeing the recent scenario of the recession, so we are aiming to support the local businesses and the local farming. So we are planning to conduct a campaign next month. So that's the local shopping campaign. So all the main the shopping complexes are the part of corporate. We always go for our benefit and we buy things from the big shops. But the local farming or the local businesses, they don't get much margin or much profit. So we are conducting a campaign so that more people can buy things from the local shops, and they will also get a benefit at the time of recession.
Yes, of course. And recently, a lot of focus has been on helping Ukrainians in Ukraine and also the refugees here.
Yeah, we did. As part of the inauguration activity of Letterkenny unit, we thought about doing something which have some recent relevance. So at the time, most of the Ukrainians were coming here, and I know that the Irish government is providing good support for them, but still they need some support from the NGOs and the voluntary groups until they get the social grants and everything to be processed. So that time we had a discussion, and every committee members agreed for supporting the Ukrainian community, and we focused on involving more the community, like Indian community involved with that. And with their support, we managed to collect more than 25 boxes of essential things, and we distributed. We worked in collaboration with the DLDC. And Noreen O'Kane, she was a great support for us at that activity, and we could manage and handed over that with the presence of Councillor Jimmy Kavanagh, and we did that.
So talk to me a little bit more about your next initiative, supporting local businesses, local farm markets and small artisan producers. How do you see that working, or are you still working through that at the moment as to how that will work?
We are planning to do it as like a campaign. We have 8 units across Ireland. So we are doing it on the same day, and we are spreading messages through the social media, and our members are working in different areas like a medical, the hospitality and IT. So we are getting more networks through engaging with the workplaces as well. So we are thinking about spreading the messages so that at least one member could convince 5 local people or the Indian people to buy. Then it will be a big crowd, and if they start buying weekly, 1 or 2 people could weekly buy that and continue that, it would be a great support for them.
Yeah, and of course the advantage too with a lot of these produce, less air miles, less packaging, and it'll maybe people try it for the first time and realise that they were missing something right on their doorstep. Yeah, okay, very good. And tell us, Crandy deals... how it actually works. Is it representing all Indian families, or is it all the broader community? What is the set makeup of it?
Krandi have a bylaw. It is, as I said previously, it is a a socialist organization. So Krandi have its own aims and objectives. We don't stand for the, we don't do the anti-national things. So we aim to those members, those who are coming to us, who believes in the values and objectives of Krandi. Anyone can come and join us and work with the Krandi. But we don't encourage who are not very progressive and not very forward So
Okay.
that's the only criteria.
The Indian community in Letterkenny is large at the moment. Do you see it expanding in the coming years?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is, because even in the hospital, I'm a nurse. I work in Letterkenny Hospital. So I could see that when I joined, there was not much Indian staff in the hospital. But I can see that every month there is new staff joining, and it is expanding.
And how long have you been there? In the hospital?
In Ireland, I am here for the last 6 years.
Okay, so it's a long time, yeah.
Yeah, it is. For the last 4 years, I was working in the community, and for the 2 years, I'm in the hospital.
Okay, and did you sort of see a job advertised and thought, right, I could make my life there and fill that post? Is that... Like, what I'm trying to get at here is, as obviously, as you know, where there's a lot of recruitment going on at the moment. Yeah. Would Indian medical professionals be looking at, Letterkenny and going, right, okay, we could go and work there?
I think there is also recruitment campaigns going on. The HSC, the personals were going to different countries, and of course, they're one of the main target is in India. India has lots of medical professionals.
Well, that's what I always feel guilty.
Yeah.
I just hope that it's not the case, and it might not be for India, but maybe for other countries, that we are going over and taking all the, you brilliant medical people. I hope we're not doing the Indian people living in India a disservice and leaving them short on expertise.
Of course they do.
So there's plenty to go around.
Yeah.
Okay, lovely stuff. How do people get more information about the Grandi?
We have a website page and also a Facebook page. And
it's spelled, by the way, it's Kranthi.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. All right, interesting. I look forward to checking that out myself, actually.
Yeah, sure.
Anything else you want to add, BG, before we say goodbye?
I'm so happy that I got an opportunity to talk in Highland Radio and say about our organization. That's a proud moment for me. And I expect more people will come and join us, and we can enlarge,
Yeah, we'll stay in contact with us. There's always options, podcasts, or whatever it might be that your organisation or you as an individual or whatever. There's probably great opportunities and ways of working together there.
Yeah, it is.
So it's been our pleasure having you up. Okay,
yeah,
and we'll see you again. Thank you so very much indeed. That's Banji Gobala Kusnin, and we'll be back with more after we take this break. Stay right where you are.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Is your bank leaving town? Letterkenny Credit Union is now offering MyCU current account and debit MasterCard, bringing full banking features with no appointment necessary to open your account.
Is your home or motor insurance up for renewal? Now is the time to check if your policy still offers you the right cover and the right fit at the right price. To be sure you're getting the best deal, take this opportunity to shop around. It's easier than you think. Simply contact your insurer or broker today. Remember, don't just renew, review. For more information, visit understandinginsurance.ie. Brought to you by Insurance Ireland.
As we move into spring, it's time that we look after what is precious to us. Are you struggling with your hearing? Your hearing is an essential part of your everyday living. Hearing is our social sense and connects you to friends and family. At Connect Hearing, we are here for you with our clinics at Courtyard Shopping Centre Letterkenny and Joyce's Chiropody Clinic in Dunlow. Our centres are open Monday to Friday, where you can avail of our hearing test, wax removal and repair services. Connect Hearing, connecting you to life.
Come on down to the annual Finn Valley Show on Russell Brothers Farm, Killygordon, this Saturday 18th of June, with the usual dog, home industries, poultry, sheep, cattle, horse and pony classes, and fast and furious donkey derby, with trade stands, show and shine tractor competition, live music from David James, and children's entertainment. It's sure to be a family fun day at the Finn Valley Show. This ad is sponsored by Kilpatrick Brothers Contracting for all your agri needs: mowing, raking, baling, GPS sowing, slurry or manure spreading. Call Ray or Davy on 087 212 1760.
House to Home Bridgend, Donegal. Our modest front door opens onto 2 floors of Irish-made furniture, suites, beds, mattresses, dining and occasional furniture. Step into our showroom and see how we can transform your house into a home. House to Home furniture, flooring, slide robes and interiors, Bridgend, Donegal.
This time of year, we're all thinking about freshening up the paintwork in our homes, bringing colour and vibrancy to our living spaces. But the important thing isn't just the colours we choose, it's the paint. Fleetwood use the highest quality ingredients for a richer colour and smoother finish that lets you wipe away the marks of everyday life. And it's Irish made, designed to work with the ever-changing Irish light. Would one range of paints transform your home? Fleetwood would, naturally.
The EuroMillions Mega Draw is back, and it's really big. It's actually massive. This Friday, June 17th, the EuroMillions jackpot will be a guaranteed €130 million. It's just too big to miss. Play responsibly, in-store, in-app or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
All roads lead to Warehouse Bar and Kitchen, Main Street, Letterkenny this rally weekend. Food and drink served all day. Late night opening all weekend. Live music and DJs throughout the rally. Warehouse Bar and Kitchen would like to wish all the competitors good luck this rally weekend.
Just a wee update in the news story here that you may be familiar with. You might know yesterday Dublin Pride announced it was ending its partnership with RTE over a controversial discussion on the Liveline programme about transgender rights. It said it was angered and disjointed by the discussion on Joe Duffy's show, which was prompted by the plan to remove the word mother from maternity legislation. But the conversation rumbled on to effectively where the conversation they were debating, which I find quite surprising. They were debating whether or not people had the right to exist. But anyway, I'm not going to insert myself in that conversation, but a lot of it was like, seriously? But anyway, Dublin Pride LGBTQ+ said the discussion caused untold hurt. So RT hadn't spoke until now, and they've reached a statement and they're backing their man, if it's okay to say that. Because in their statement, they say public discussion, sometimes uncomfortable, difficult and contentious, is central to RTE's prescribed purpose. So it says RTE is acutely aware that discussions on issues such as gender and identity are deeply personal to many. It's important we listen to them, their families and those close to them. And it's also important that we allow our audience engage with understand the issues involved. That will allow our audience engage with and understand the issues involved. That being said, though, if you're going to moderate such a discussion, you really need to know the ins and outs of it as well. I don't think I'm just asking questions and stumbling through such an important and sensitive topic where you are, and some people are actually literally going to be discussing whether or not people should exist or not. You have to be really careful in that regard. But anyway, that's an update in relation to that. Right, your man's Coffee Cove. You might be familiar with it. Good morning, Chad. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, Chad. Where are you based?
We're based in Fintown.
Fintown, okay. So if people want a coffee in Fintown, whereabouts would they find you? They'd see you on the way in or internally, or
both on the way in and on the way out from Ballabafay, on the way from Glinties. We're across from, if people are familiar with the area, the McGeehan's bus travel.
Rightio. Well, that's the plug-in. Okay, Chad, we're hearing about this latte tax now, where the government is going to impose a charge on disposable coffee cups with a view to reducing our use of them. And of course, we had a litter survey out the day before, pure coincidence I'm sure, which stated that one of the biggest problems in this country is coffee cups, disposable coffee cups. And I think we all agree we don't want people throwing coffee cups on the ground. Okay, what do you think about this, Chad? What impact might it have on your business?
Well, there are two points that I want to discuss a little bit. Is the coffee cup itself. They are taxing something that is compostable, it's biodegradable, it's recyclable. They're taxing something that, and I'm not going to mention other items, and I don't want to give them any other ideas, but they could be taxing other things that are less earth-friendly than these coffee cups. So why taxing this one item? I'm really unclear of. I'm not sure why they're doing that.
Okay, so I made the comparison, and I'll let you continue, Chad, by the way.
Yeah,
I made
sure.
the comparison with the plastic bag levy. The plastic bag levy was discouraged us using plastic bags because they end up, we had to export a lot of them to China. They just end up, they don't decompose, and they're a big problem. What you're saying is we're using the same model to try and reduce the usage of something that already ticks an awful lot of the green boxes.
Correct.
Okay.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
Continue with your points, Chad.
And the other point is, again, it is monetary, in the sense that this 20 cents tax levy, if we buy a box of coffee cups, that's going to be an extra €100 for the box of cups. So if you are buying 3 to 5 boxes of cups a month, that's an extra €300 to €500 per box. Well, that's an electricity bill. That's somebody's partial rent to the place that they're doing business. So this extra money that we're having to pay this tax on is, we have, over the last 3 to 6 months, of course, we've seen this cost of living skyrocket. Well, that's also to us as business owners.
Yeah, but the idea, Chad, and I play devil's advocate here, right?
Sure.
The idea is not to penalise you. Presumably, the extra €100 per box of coffee cups, the idea is that you pass that on to the consumer and that we make lifestyle choices off the basis of that. It's not to punish you, it's to punish us, it's to change our thinking.
And I get that. However, how many of my customers or our customers, as coffee sellers in these coffee trailers, how many of those customers are just going to drive by and go, I forgot my to-go cup or my travel mug. I'm just not going to stop today.
And people might go, for 20 cents, listen, on anything there's a tipping point. There is a price point where we make decisions, and they might not seem like big decisions, and we all kind of think alike, so there comes a tipping point whereby the consumer goes, you know what, if I add up how much I'm spending on coffee per week and put it over the year, I'm going to stop doing that. And as I say, if one does it, a lot of people do it. So that's your concern, that this 20 cent gets us to that tipping point.
That is a concern, only because it's not the only thing. If this was the only cost of increase that we as business owners have had over the last 6 months, okay, fine. We will eat that cost. That's fine. We will eat that out of our profit. That's fine. And that's what coffee truck owners and restaurateurs we've all done that over the last 6 months of seeing our costs increase. I've spoken with several of business owners such as myself, and we've all said the same thing. I don't want to increase my prices. I don't want to increase my prices. So we eat the cost up until a certain point, and then you have to move that on to the consumer. And we don't want to, but we have to. And like I say, if this 20 cent increase was the only increase that we've seen over the last 6 months, okay, fine. We can, all right, we don't want to, but we'll eat that cost ourselves. But it's a tipping point for us too.
Yeah, and I just wonder too if it's a little bit unfair on the small guys too, because obviously there's a convenience, because say for instance in your case you have to find the right spot, but also you have to go on the quality of your product as well. But you'll get big multinationals, and people might see the ads, and I won't give them advertisement, where they're selling coffee for like under €1, and clearly they can absorb these type of changes, and even if they go up to €1.19, it's not. It feels unfair. Maybe that's the competitive world, but it feels a little bit unfair on the likes of yourselves that sort of are pushing a quality product as well. I'm not saying the others aren't, but you know where I'm coming from, Chad. I just think it tips the scale against you guys to the bigger guys.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Greg. Thank you. And to that point, milk, for instance, we could buy very cheaper milk, much cheaper milk than we do, but it doesn't taste as good. It doesn't froth as well. It's not the right product for what we as coffee trailer and coffee truck owners want to give to our customer. So yes, there is that that tipping point where we just can't afford the cost increases And so it's got to be passed on.
I
And
just
we don't
think
want
sometimes too, rather than trying other things, like say education, for instance, or pointing out the fact that maybe a lot of people don't realise, Chad, that these cups are completely disposable. Are we putting adverts in papers or on the radio to say what you can do with these cups? How you can a little action from you can make a big difference. We just go straight to the tax.
Exactly. That's the first. That was one thing that I thought of yesterday. Was that
Chad?
very
Me and
fact
you,
that
we are
did
in the
that.
zone. Me and you are we're like one mind here. What's the point?
Is that good or bad? I don't know.
But this is like the reason why, Chad, is because it's common sense stuff. Do you know what I mean?
It seems to be.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, okay, and it seems inevitable, but I just wish we could look at things in a more nuanced way and think of the competition, not the competition, think of the consequences, because I think we should be doing everything at this time, particularly if things are going to squeeze even more, to support our small and medium enterprises, that employ 1 or 2 or 3 people, ones that don't come in, collect the grant money and then clear off again. Do you know what I mean? We should be doing more, I think, to support the likes of yourself, not disadvantage you.
Well, thank you. And the other thing that I do want to mention about this tax is, if I read it correctly, that it's 20 cents per now, but it could possibly go up to €1.
Mm.
So you mean that in 3 months' time, if what they're trying to accomplish hasn't been accomplished, they're going to go, well, let's just raise that tax to €1 and see if people stop drinking coffee on to-go cups.
If I bring it to Go Cup, to you, do I get it cheaper than if I get it in a disposable cup?
As of right now, no.
Like,
But that is something to consider.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I wonder, if that's how they're trying to influence business, that if you could. Obviously, there's something about. I'm not a huge coffee drinker, but obviously, there's something to holding the cup, and you know what I mean. I think there's a bit of a lifestyle thing. I don't know what it is, right? But it's great if it's keeping people like you busy. But I'm just wondering, then maybe how do you stop them going elsewhere, or how do you maintain that trade? Then you say, right, if you bring your own cup, we'll discount it. Maybe that's not part of your business model, but maybe that's what they're trying to do.
It's a possibility, and I am in no way stuck in in any ground whatsoever. I'll move forward. Let's we're negotiable here. We can do different things. That's okay.
I don't wonder what the general population is like though, retaining something. I mean, I know if I had a reusable cup, it would last a day. It would sit in the middle of the car. What was left at the bottom would go off, and then I would lose interest in it. Maybe people are more organised than I am, but that's literally how my life would play out. I've had 2 travel cups, and I've used them twice, and then that's it.
Well, that's because you haven't stopped by our coffee cove.
In Fintown?
That's right.
Okay, right, Chad. I feel like I'm interviewing Gareth Brooks again.
Oh, there you go.
You have a similar way of speaking, Chad.
Well, thank you.
Are you from the same neck of the woods?
Compliment. I am not, no.
Well, that just shows how ignorant I am, isn't it?
That's different accents all over the world. You're good.
Okay, listen, have you're a long-term Irish Chad, are you, or have you moved here, or what's, because obviously, or did you work away, or because you can get the tone to your accent?
Just moved here last August, and I have not picked up the Donegal accent yet.
No, well, listen, you know yourself, you'll be here 40 years and you'll still have your accent, the same as Irish people in America. They come back from New York after 50 years and you would swear they'd just come down from Ballabafay or something.
That is true. Yes.
All right, Chad, it's good to have you here. I hope you've continued success, and I really appreciate your time. And I think a lot of people would have listened to you and said, you know what, Chad's speaking a bit of common sense there.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on, Greg.
All right, take care, Chad. And thank you for engaging and listening and all that type of stuff. All right, 086 60 25,000. 086 60 25,000. Right, we were talking earlier on to 2 parents of junior cert students who their students got COVID, and they're going to be marked absent for the junior cert. There's no option for them to resit it. We've heard from Councillor Niamh Kennedy. She says that she's going to raise it with the minister. We're going to make our own inquiries. I just don't want people to think that we speak to them and then we don't follow it up. Because at the start of the show, I says, look, get in touch with us. We'll do our best with you. Also, good to see that it's gaining momentum, not necessarily off the back of our conversation, but off the back of people speaking out, because Deputy Piers Doherty has been in touch to say that he's also contacting the Department of Education, read the marking absent for any student who's tested positive for COVID while doing the junior cert. So that's the opposition making their representations. We've got local councillors. We are as well. So that's just to show to the two parents that were on with us that, getting your opinion out there as they did, it helps, and hopefully something positive might come from it. That's how it all works. All right, we're going to be talking about the pressures on those providing childcare. We're going to talk about that in a moment.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages with life cover provided at no additional cost. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127. Shane Connolly Car Sales has relocated to Drumlonagher, Donegal Town. Besides offering quality used cars, we have a brand new state-of-the-art workshop for all your car service needs. At Shane Connolly Car Sales, we deliver straight to your door and offer excellent finance packages. Check out our social platforms or visit ShaneConnollyCarsales.com.
Attention all tractor and forklift owners. Donegal Tyres in Donegal Town is a leading supplier of agricultural and solid forklift tyres in the northwest with a huge range available at competitive prices. Donegal Tyres can help you choose the correct tyre for your application and we will come to you, so no downtime. Check out DonegalTyres.com or call 07497 21482. That's Donegal Tyres, Donegal Town, where you'll get a great deal.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us what. The Lotto Jackpot is an estimated €4 million. Play responsibly in store, in app, or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
The Saturday Stretch Week 7 is here. Every Saturday throughout June, visit Oakfield Park Rafo from 11 until late. This week, there's live music from La Pompe after 6, with later running trains, food specials in Buffer's Restaurant, craft beers and wines, and live music from different acts each week. It's the perfect family day out. Normal gate fees apply, no booking required. Season Pass and Gold Pass holders enter free. That's the Saturday Stretch at Oakfield Park.
Rally fever is building in the northwest. Join Highland Radio for live coverage of the Donegal International Rally, on air and online at highlandradio.com, in association with Voodoo Venue Letterkenny, Donegal's premier entertainment venue, where this Rally Friday, playing live, it's Sailor Bill.
The Lennon Festival is delighted to announce that the Rnli Soapbox Derby will be held in Ramelton on Sunday, the 3rd of July at 2 p.m, with a prize fund of €500. Entry fee per cart is €25, and all carts must be registered by Saturday the 2nd of July by calling PJ Boner on 087 2899 232.
All right, that sounds like good fun. Trish McLaughlin is manager at the Donegal County Childcare Committee. A very good morning, Trish. Thanks for joining us today.
Morning,
right,
Greg.
okay, so the bottom line is that some childcare facilities are going to simply close because it's not a business. It's not financially viable for them to stay open. So what is the operating environment that's leading to people having to make that difficult decision?
I suppose, Greg, core funding has been introduced this year, so we have a transition fund going on now at the minute, and people are coming out of the COVID payments. The core funding's coming in, and it's very much based on qualifications. So full day services with a highly qualified staff will do really well out of this.
Mhm.
They'll be very sustainable. But our small, maybe preschool only services that have some of the best staff, some of the best in terms of quality, but unqualified staff, in terms, and we're talking level 7, level 8, we're talking degree level, will not benefit from the core funding. Their funding will remain the same, but there is a freeze cap on parental fees. So with inflation and everything else, their costs are rising. But we are hopeful that a sustainability fund will come into place and that none of our services in Donegal will close.
Yeah.
We're very hopeful that none of them will close.
Yeah, well, hopefully, and fingers crossed, because as you say, even if there wasn't a cap on what you can go to parents with, there's a limit to what you can expect from people. We all know the struggles.
Absolutely.
So there has to be a separate fund, the sustainability fund, to make a lot of the providers that you're talking of sustainable. Is that correct?
Well, with rising inflation and things like that, there is, and fees are set on. They're not this year's fees. They weren't set last year. They're the year before that. So the fees are set pre-COVID. So So there is a sustainability fund there at all times, hard to access, but there is a sustainability fund, and we will be making a case for any of these services that are not benefiting greatly from core funding.
Is that made at a committee level or an individual service provider level?
For core funding?
Yeah. Oh, no, well, for the sustainability fund you're talking of, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a department fund. That's a department fund.
But does each provider have to apply for that separately?
Yes, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely, and we'll support them in that with that through.
A lot of paperwork and what have you to go through, I imagine.
Lots of paperwork and a lot of proving, a lot of proving your existence and how you're unsustainable. But it's very doable at the same time.
So if that all happens, then the childcare services are reasonably sustainable in this county, or are there other problems?
Anybody that's full day care are very sustainable.
Yeah.
If they've and a lot of our services are moving towards that level 7. As I keep saying, it is the services, and they're excellent quality here in the county. But it is them services that are going to suffer, where people are maybe they just don't want to go back and do a level 7. They don't want to go back and do a 4-year degree, or they're past that. They've been in existence for long enough, providing a really quality service, and they don't want to put themselves through that pressure.
So from your perspective, and I read an article recently which said that childcare facilities are having to close because of spiralling costs. Are you saying that things may not be quite as bad as that? Or is...
Definitely not for us in this county.
Okay.
Definitely not.
So maybe if they're Dublin-based or something with higher overheads, it's more of a problem.
City-based, yes. And I think nobody, with core funding, there's a guarantee from the department that nobody will be getting less funding. Everybody will be getting the same level of funding as they're getting now.
Historically, we've spoken to very highly qualified people working in childcare who were on minimum wage and not much above that. Has their situation improved?
Yes, their situation will improve with core funding because people are qualified. The more people qualified within your service, the more money that's coming into the service, and that is very much to bring people up to, to professionalise the sector. So people with qualifications at level 7, level 8 will be rewarded for such.
And how are we doing in terms of the availability of childcare places in where we need them effectively? I mean...
desperate in terms of the urban areas, Greg. Desperate in terms of areas. I suppose if you look at the county as a whole, we definitely have spaces that are available. We definitely look like we have a surplus.
But you need a 2-hour round trip before you get to work if you work Letterkenny. Okay, I get you.
Letterkenny could have 3 full day cares opening. Buncrana, Donegal Town, Bundoran had a miss with our Ukrainian families in Bundoran. Now, they're at capacity. So. And
is it the type of area that new businesses pop up in, Mary?
No.
And why is that? Is it there's not enough staff, or perhaps unless you're established now, maybe people would look at the business model and not think it's worthwhile? Why don't we see more childcare facilities popping up, I wonder?
We haven't had a big capital grant for a long time. Ncbi was the last one, probably 10 years ago now at this stage, maybe more. And we don't have the premises. So you need a purpose-built premises to operate. You really do need it at this stage. The rooms need to be a size and they need to be viable. Staffing is always an issue in the county. We're always low, but it's the pay in the sector as well. So hopefully core funding will change that, because we have plenty of people coming through the degree programs who's moving on to different careers.
Right.
So we're looking to keep them in the sector.
Mary Crawford, Wonder Years manager. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, Greg.
How are you keeping?
I'm very good. Waiting on your call this morning.
Oh, well, here I am.
I know.
Mary, what's your take on all of this?
Greg, as regards the core funding and all coming in this September, for our situation here ourselves, it's very positive if it goes the way that they are planning it to. We cater for over 250 children a week. We're quite a large setting. In Donegal, 80% of our team is graduate-led, or graduates of degrees. And this year, a couple of months ago, we have set up a scholarship fund as well for anyone who's still level 5, level 6 to have their degree obtained. So, our service is paying for our workforce as well, any of the remaining ones to increase their education, with the promise then that they get, a pay rise at the end of it. So, we're in a very lucky situation. We understand that some services aren't so much, but
they're not in a position, Mary, to do.
Huh?
Yeah. Some of the services wouldn't be in a position to be as generous as your service there, but we do have services we have a service that had nobody at level 7 that are going to put 7 through the level 7 in September. So, Mary's a unique service there, and that the staff are very well looked after.
Trish, you have some reservations, though.
About the core
Sorry,
funding?
I beg your pardon. Yeah, I wanted to ask Mary. Sorry, Trish, I beg your pardon. You
Yeah,
have some
you're
reservations, Mary.
Yeah, so the likes of the core funding, it's fantastic. So we are going to get funding towards every room that has a graduate leader in there. Now, we have 15 rooms, so that's funding for 15 of our leaders. Now, the core funding and the ERO that's been proposed at the minute.
Now, just what's the ERO?
Oh, the Employment Regulation Order.
Okay,
it is now setting up in the Joint Labour Committee at the minute. They are setting up a minimum fee or a minimum amount which you can pay an early years educator. So that's 100%. We've seen the pay scales. Our pay scales set out for September, so we're not worried by it. The only issue, like say for instance, the two of them aren't merging, so they are going to give me funding for every room that has a graduate working in it, but they're only giving it to me for one graduate. So we currently employ, I think we're about over 50 staff working with us at the minute. So I'm getting funding for 15 educators. We are paying all our pay scales based on the level of education, your experience, whatever you have. But why are we only getting paid for one graduate in the room when my rooms all have at least 2 graduates in them? And for services now, so we're fine. We do financial forecasting each year. We do business forecasting, SWOT analysis on our service to see how we can progress, what's the threats out there, what's our opportunities, and moving forward. So we have predicted that there's a lot of small services out there who haven't increased their fees in 10 years. Now all of a sudden, they can opt into the core funding, and if they don't, they get standard capitation for their ECC scheme. They lose their PSP payment, but they still have to pay a minimum fee. I think it's a 24% increase from the minimum wage, say for anyone with a level 5, level 6. And then there's the second ERO now is it's higher again for their lead educators, especially after the degree. So it works for us, but it's not working for every service.
Yeah, all right. And I think it's quite good, Mary, that you're putting the point of view across of those that it's going to affect, rather than the same when you're in a space where it'll be better for you guys, which I think is really nice. All right, thanks, Mary, for that insight. It's amazing how complex it is, and the scale of your business and everything that has to be gone through. It's an eye opener to me, Mary.
It definitely is, and as regards the graduate workforce. We need graduates to come into the service. When you're hearing university lecturers telling graduate students, once you're a level 8, you're too good for early years. They need to come in and see actually what our educators are doing here is unbelievable. It's amazing. It takes a special type of teacher to cater for the under 5s, never mind the under 3s. Them first 5 years are vital. So,
And the part of a child's education now, and I think we're seeing that, aren't we? I mean, it's a continuance. All right, listen, Mary, thanks for that. Thanks for the insight. I really appreciate it, and continued success there. Trish, thank you very much indeed as well.
You.
All
Thanks,
right,
Greg.
lovely stuff. Thank you very much. That's Trish McLaughlin and Mary Crawford with their insights there. Okay, 086 60 25,000 WhatsApps and texts. Not going to lie, I have a few messages here that we need to get to. We will in the next hour. Also coming up, we'll have Kieran in talking business matters ahead of the publication of our business podcast on the Highland Radio website. He'll be running through what's coming up in the podcast and also telling us a bit of business news.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Have you bought your Ncbi Radio Bingo book yet? Contribute to this fantastic charity and be in with a chance to win daily cash prizes of €400. Books are now available from your local retailer.
It's the Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring biggest ever sale. €10 million worth of stock in store and ready to take home. All tiles, all wood flooring, all bathware. Everything slashed in price. Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring. Ireland's biggest range, best prices, and in-store to take home today. Sale extended until Sunday.
For a great early season lawnmower deal, visit Gartley Sales and Hire. Exclusive stockist of Stiga in the Northwest. Mowers, trimmers and hedge trimmers. Full trade and service available at Gartley Sales and Hire, Gartley, Letterkenny. Call 91262276.
For big name menswear at great prices, visit Watson Menswear in Letterkenny. Top casual brands including Mishmash, Sixth Sense, Tommy Bow and Penguin. If you're going to a wedding or a big event, formal wear names include Rimassimo, Andre and White Label. Also a great selection of children's casual and formal wear in stock. Watson Menswear, open 7 days a week on Main Street, Letterkenny, and online at watsonmenswear.com.
Getting value on your shopping has never been more important. That's why at Super Value we have great offers like selected fresh Irish barbecue meats, any 3 for €10. Sangre de Toro Rioja, save 33%. And get new weekly money off vouchers on the Real Rewards app. For low prices that compete with anyone, it's got to be Super Value. Enjoy alcohol responsibly.
Are you worried about trees on your property? Northwest Forestry Services Ballybuffet are fully insured and have over 40 years experience in dangerous tree removal, tree felling, surgery and stump grinding. For peace of mind, call Northwest Forest Services Ballybuffet for a no obligation quotation on 91320033.
The door for claiming High Court redress on homes built with defective blocks is closing. If you've been affected, you must act now to get justice. Don't, and your claim, like your house, could crumble. To discuss your options with our legal team at the Gateway Hotel Bungrana on the 15th or 16th of June, email defectiveblocks@colemanlegal.ie or call 01 531 3800. Participation is free of charge. Defective Blocks Ireland, building the case for rebuilding your home.
Good morning, Greg. 2 points I would like to make. This is as it relates to President Michael D. Higgins' comments. He was right to make the statements regarding the disgraceful housing problems in this country. His statement was not political, but a moral and ethical condemnation of government's inaction about the real needs of people. Read the Junior Search. It beggars belief at this is like someone that goes into the GP with one problem and then says, and by the way, while I'm in here, can you have a look at another problem? Which is more than welcome here, by the way. We don't limit you to just one comment on an issue. But they go on to say, read the Junior Cert. It beggars belief at this stage that young people still have to suffer the inadequacies of the education system, where their futures can be determined by one-off written exams. It's time a system of continuous assessment was implemented in schools. In doing so, all students would be treated more equally and given the opportunity to seamlessly fit into the marking systems employed at third level education if they decide to do so. The idea of being marked as absent on an education certificate is totally abhorrent. It is, isn't it? Michael D. Higgins, did he cross the line? No, he did not, says a texter. This is why we vote for our local councillors to help us. But whilst they sit on a big paycheck every week, they aren't doing their job in helping the people. So fair play to Michael D. Higgins for speaking out, says that caller. Okay, it is 11 o'clock. It's time for a news update. Good morning once again, Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. The EU has confirmed it will launch fresh legal proceedings against the UK in regards to the Northern Ireland Protocol. The Foreign Affairs Minister, meanwhile, says reckless UK threats to breach international law have forced the EU's hand. Simon Coveney says the decision to resume legal action is not where we want to be, but it's down to a deliberate UK strategy of provocation over partnership. The Taoiseach says some of the President's remarks about housing are true and the issue is a social disaster. Michael D. Higgins yesterday described the situation as a disaster and our great, great failure. There has been some criticism that the President crossed the line and spoke out of turn in criticising government policy. However, Leo Varadkar says Michael D. Higgins is often outspoken and is above party politics and he won't be critical of him in any way. The MICA Action Group says, as it stands, the enhanced redress scheme approved by Cabinet yesterday does not meet their needs. Housing Minister Darragh O'Brien says he believes it is fit for purpose and will help homeowners rebuild their homes and their lives. Michael Doherty, who is PRO of the Action Group, says while elements of the new scheme are close to what's necessary, it's not yet right and the focus will now be on what amendments are proposed during what will be a limited pre-legislative scrutiny process. The new Cathaoirleach of the Donegal Municipal District says the housing crisis in Donegal is becoming very worrying, particularly with the number of young people who don't have somewhere to live. Councillor Niamh Kennedy was elected to the chair with fellow independent Councillor Tom Connahan as her deputy. Councillor Kennedy says it will be a challenging year in the Donegal MD, but she believes it'll be a productive one. A woman's been attacked by masked men in what police are describing as an aggravated burglary in the Fountain Hill area of Derry. They say just before 10:15 last night, 4 masked men entered a flat and forced their way into a room where they struck the female occupant in her 40s on the legs and hands with weapons, including hammers. She sustained minor injuries and is very distressed. They made off in the direction of Top of the Hill along with 2 others who had waited outside. And Donegal County Council is to carry out a review of vacancy and dereliction across the county with the possibility of potential compulsory purchase orders and other measures to promote regeneration and provide housing options. The review will draw on a high-level examination of vacancy in the region that was recently published by the Northern and Western Regional Assembly. The issue has been raised this week by Councillor Ian McGarvey, who says while there's been a lot of talk, there's not been much progress, and it's time for the council to engage with building owners. And we're back with headlines again at 12 noon.
Thanks very much indeed, Donald. Now, Wellness Wednesday is coming up for you. It's a regular feature on a Wednesday where we focus on a different element of health, well-being, things that hopefully might improve your life or educate or help you in some way or other. And, you know, we are interactive, by the way. If there's something you want us particularly to speak about, please get in touch with us and we'll see if we can fit it in. This week we're going to be talking about learning to drive with a disability. Now, I presume this could be those with a disability learning to drive for the first time, but I imagine too there is, when I say imagine, I don't need to imagine because I know them personally, people who would have to adapt the way they drive because of an illness or a condition or something in their life. So Raymond McDade is a driving instructor with the Irish Wheelchair Association, their School of Motoring. He's going to be joining me in studio very shortly to discuss this. So if you've any questions or any queries or want any advice, get in touch with us right now. 086 60 25,000. That's your WhatsApps or your texts. Or give us... Do we get more WhatsApps or texts now, Caroline? Is it 50-50? WhatsApp, more WhatsApps and texts? Is it 50-50? She's making a lot of gestures. I don't know what they mean. I'm going to say 50-50. Or you can give us a call on 07491 25,000. Right, okay, so we want you involved and I want to make sure I get your questions answered. But we have a break to take. Stay where you are. Back with you in just a little over 2.5 minutes.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Now offering MyCU current account and debit MasterCard. Bringing full banking features. Delivered with the same local trustworthy service of your credit union.
New this week in Home Store and More. All summer duvets are half price. But better hurry, because when all our half price summer duvets are gone, they're gone. Also, all outdoor cushions are still half price. But when all our half price outdoor cushions are gone, they're definitely gone. Order online before 2 p.m. for next day delivery. Or drop by your local Home Store and More. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Are you worried about an expense or a bill that you can't afford? The Department of Social Protection is here to help. The Additional Needs Payment is now available to support you with additional expenses, such as utility bills, fuel costs, or repairs to your property, or even a broken washing machine. It's available to anyone who needs it and qualifies, whether you're currently on a social welfare payment or working on a low income. This support is provided by the Community Welfare Service of the Department of Social Protection. To find out more, visit gov.ie/ANP. A Government of Ireland initiative.
Get ready for your holidays with the best brands in fresh new summer colours. Kids clothing for all ages, boys and girls. At Brian McCormick Sports and Leisure. Adidas Turo 21 t-shirts and shorts. Match it up with some graphic tees in bright new colours. Under Armour Girls Logo Range. T-shirts and shorts with matching hoodies and crop leggings. Nike Pro jackets for girls with matching tees and shorts. In store or online. Click and collect on bmcsports.ie.
Attention all pet lovers and owners. Gary's Pet World Letterkenny is open 7 days per week, offering the very best value on all pet foods, accessories, grooming and care products. Call in and let our staff help you spoil your pet today. You will be amazed by the range of product for all pets, with exceptional value on all leading brands. Alternatively, you can browse and buy online at petworld.ie and we will deliver to your home.
Buncrana Music Festival, Saturday and Sunday, July 2nd and 3rd. Dan McCabe, Moncrief, Hothouse Flowers, Paddy Casey, The Fratellis, Hudson Taylor, Leah Hart and many more. Early bird tickets end this Friday. Visit buncranamusicfestival.com.
Okay, so Wellness Wednesday, it's a broad church. Today we're talking about driving with a disability or driving for the first time, learning to drive again in a new way. And to tell us about it is Mr. Raymond McDade. Raymond, thank you very much for coming to the studio and joining us. Great to have you with us.
Thanks, Greg.
Now, you're a driving instructor with the Irish Wheelchair Association School of Motoring based in Donegal. You also work in Sligo and Leitrim. How long have you been working in this field, Raymond?
Since 2008. I started and the previous instructor retired, so I took over then.
You hadn't had enough of it, so you decided there's other instructoring work I can do.
Well, no, I work with Irish Wheelchair. I've been there for the last 23 years, and this, as you go along, different situations come up. Driving buses was the start of it, and it worked on to this driving instructing.
Brilliant stuff. Now, you teach people to drive with a disability, presumably, perhaps maybe if they were born with a disability or if they've acquired it and they need to, adapt how they drive. Before we talk more about that, do you think a lot of people with a disability could drive but choose not to? Maybe they haven't spoke to the likes of yourself or the Irish Wheelchair Association and they maybe not realise, how we can adapt vehicles or whatever it might be.
Yeah, a lot to do with confidence. People are sitting in the house and they have driven before, and because they've acquired an injury or a disability, what happens is they say to themselves, "No, I'm no good for this. I won't be able to do this." And basically, what I do is, if they come to me, I would show them around the car, put an adaptation in place that would suit them, and take them for a drive. And once they get the feeling that they're able to do it, the confidence starts to come back. And it's amazing how quickly it comes back and how they haven't forgot.
But your role is I think it's as much or if not more supporting as well as instructing in many cases when people have driven previously.
Yeah, previous drive, it's different from if you're born with a disability and acquired disability, strokes and stuff like that come into the equation, and it's just the loss of power in a limb, right arm, right leg, or the opposite, and our cars can be adapted to suit that.
Do you think a lot of people maybe don't realise that as well? Raymond?
This is a problem. Like, people are sitting there and saying, "Well, that's it." And then they're depending on family to drive them about, and they're sitting in the house and saying, "Well, who can I ring to take me to the shop?"
My driving career's over, effectively.
That's what it is. Yeah.
And I'm sorry, some of these questions are basic because I really find it quite fascinating. In terms of, say, for instance, driving, and say, for instance, I already hold a full license, okay, and something happens whereby I have to drive an adapted car, maybe a hands-only vehicle. Do you have to sit any further tests, Raymond, or is it just a case of you adapting your skill set?
Yeah, no, they don't have to sit another driving test. No, their licenses, they might have to get a number added to the license to mirror the adaptation on the car. It's just a number on the back of their license.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I've just adapt the car. And they can get their own car adapted then, but usually they'll need an automatic transmission to go
but listen,
forward.
I was having a conversation earlier today. I think stick shift cars are between going to hybrid and automatic and electric, stick shift cars are probably going to be a thing of the past in the very near future, if the truth be told.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's got even trucks. They have to specify they wanted a manual change instead of an automatic.
I think too, what a really useful thing that you do, Raymond, as well, is before people decide what they're going to do, you can give an honest and independent assessment of someone's driving, even say making the appropriate adaptations, you sitting on with them and saying, look, no, you can drive, or, it might need a little bit of extra practice, but you can do this. So you can let people know, can you, whether or not it's within their capability to drive again or to drive for the first time.
Yeah, the first thing we do is do a driving assessment, and that right away you can nearly tell from the first visit, what's needed and if the person's able to continue or not. I guess two people come in with this, we'll say the same, say a stroke, for instance. One might be able to drive, another might not. It's see how they are mentally as well as physically,
And someone might go, well, my stroke is affecting the right side of my body. I used to use the right leg to accelerate and brake, so I can't drive. You're saying, hold on a second.
I would say that I can bring down a left foot accelerator, and you work with your left foot.
Yeah.
And it does take a lot of practice for that one, because your mind's already set with the clutch on your left,
Yeah.
and it takes a bit of getting used to.
But it's doable. That's the thing, it's doable.
I've trained many ones like that.
I would say you have a lot of stories too of people who, we're in the group we talked about earlier where something happened to them and they says, I'm housebound now. That's it. That's my driving finished. They had a chat with you, maybe had a go in an adapted car and got their independence back. I'd say you've dealt with quite a few people like that, Raymond.
Yeah, just recently there, I had a young fellow down from Inishowen area, and he confined to a wheelchair, and he came out, and actually the day of the assessment, his parents were looking out the window and surprised to see him driving out the gate. They said they never get back, but after so much training, after it was about 18 to 20 lessons we had, he passed his driving test there.
Brilliant.
3 weeks ago.
And that he was a first-time driver?
First-time driver. They're always the best.
Yeah.
The older type, the
bad habits?
The bad habits are still there.
Okay. So talk to us a little bit about some of the adaptations that can be made to cars, because I think, let's say we presume the easiest thing would be an automatic, and even in the case whereby I think, it's probably easy to work out how hand controls could work, how it could be adapted. But what other adaptations are common to assist people getting back behind the wheel or behind the wheel for the first time, Raymond?
Yeah, there's different types of adaptations. There's what they call an infrared system. It's a system it's plumbed into the computer, we'll say, in the car, and we would use for instance, there's a device called a lollipop, believe it or not. It just looks like a lollipop. There are buttons on it for indicators, wipers, the horn, dipping the lights, putting on the wipers, secondary controls. And it looks very complicated at the start, but once these people get a grip on it and they're determined to do it, that's one way that you don't have, all they have to do is steer the car with the one hand. Maybe they're using hand controls on the other side, not using their feet at all.
Yeah.
We can bring down a left foot accelerator, like I was saying earlier there. Just an ordinary swivel ball on the steering wheel, just for maneuverability roundabouts.
And I think too, obviously, with the advances in technology, we're able to do things now that we probably weren't able to do, not so long ago.
That's correct. Yeah, it was very basic at one stage, but as we go on, the technology's catching up rapid.
Yeah, brilliant. So let's presume then that I think maybe the starting point would need to be able to, you'd need to be able to afford to run a car and have a car, right?
Yeah.
I think that's, like your tax and insurance, all the usual stuff. In terms of then adapting a vehicle or, getting instruction from you, Raymond, how expensive is that normally? If there's an average, it depends on people's needs, of course. But
yeah, depending on the needs, if say the infrared system, it depends who you go to. I wouldn't be too au fait with the prices, but it can go into thousands, depending on the adaptation you need.
That's for the very sophisticated systems.
Sophisticated systems, To change the pedals, we'll say, they just take out the pedal box and put it on a different one.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't be as expensive. Could go up into €800 or €900 euros. Depends on the people you use. Different places you go with different prices. First of all, to get into our system, we have to do the assessment, and the assessment in our situation, and with the Irish wheelchair, is €170 to start off.
Mm-hmm.
I know that sounds expensive, but when it goes to lessons, and the lessons are €30 a lesson, which makes it. We try to keep the price down to make it
probably slightly below the market sort of rate for lessons.
A bit below the market rate, and we try and keep it as affordable as we can.
So the message here too, though, is get an assessment, and the assessment is also for people that have never driven it before as well. Is that correct?
Absolutely, first timers and people who've acquired a disability. The first timers are usually people who are born with the situation.
And are you the only show in town, or are there a team of you? Like, I'm thinking, what's the waiting time? For instance, if someone was listening and thought, you know what, I might spend the 170 for an assessment. It could be a really exciting journey I'm on. Does it take a long time to sort of go through the process?
Not really. What you can you have to get an application form. You can get it online there on the AWA website. You've got to download it because you fill in the first couple of pages, and the back 2 pages for the GP to fill in, or the consultant, whichever. And they fill that in. The GP has to sign it and stamp it.
Right. So really, what it is to make sure that your medical professional believes that you're able to begin this process. I don't think that's unreasonable.
No, and then what happens you post it off to Clane, our place down, and our headquarters down in Clane in County Kildare. The address is on the form. There's the form there. It's you don't send any money. You just send the form, and it comes back to me in a file. And when I get the file, I ring you within a week or thereabouts. And as quick as I can get it, because I am the only show in town for this particular situation, at the moment.
Yeah, okay. And you help a lot of people over the course of the year, I'm sure, though, Raymond. You help a lot of people.
Yeah, it's usually between about maybe 5 or 6 a week there.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because of it takes time to go through the whole
patience. You have to be very patient with the process.
Yes, it's very. You have to be extra patient.
Yeah.
It takes a little bit longer, not that much longer.
All right. A caller says the lollipop was fitted in my son's car. It was €2,400 before VAT, but a second-hand one can be got for €1,200. So there are options.
There are options around. Yeah, it depends on the vehicle too. There's different.
Yeah.
Different stuff. Different. Adaptions.
Yeah, and do we know, as I say, I know your focus is on instruction, but do we know if there's any supports available from the state to sort of help people with any of these costs?
Well, in 2013, there was a
the adaptation grant.
Yeah,
I've talked about this quite a bit.
It was €5,020 and 20 cents at that time, and they cut it off in 2013. Yeah, and. They promised to replace it.
Oh, yeah, it was a temporary measure, all right, yeah.
But to date, they've talked about it here and there, sneaked it in, but they never.
We might have to make another inquiry to see what's going on there. Well, listen, Raymond, it's been fascinating to get an insight. The people, if they want more information, either ring the Irish Wheelchair Association or go on to their website. and that's where they can get more info. Before we talk about this Family Fun Day, because we'll give that a plug, is there anything on the issue of the driving instructing that you wish to mention that we didn't talk about, Raymond?
No, just the driving instructing. You have to go through your driving test again. You start it off, and then get trained up. Barry Reid down at Loan there, he trained me up to do the assessments. Very knowledgeable gentleman, and we get on very well and still do.
Yeah.
But it takes a good bit of training.
It's not an easy path, and it requires a lot of effort. And
when you're assessing somebody, you're assessing them the minute they step out of the car.
Yes, I get you.
And to come into the building, for instance, and you're watching and looking to see what.
But you are working with an awful lot of people, so a lot of people, fly through that assessment. And okay, listen, it's been fascinating, Raymond. By the way, the Irish Wheelchair Association, if you wish to support them, there's a Family Fun Day, new and vintage auto show, cars and tractors. It's on the Sunday, the 26th of June. Everyone's welcome. The spot price is on the day. Entertainment is by Paul McCattle. It starts at 1 p.m. behind the Ncbi Hotel in Letterkenny, so a great spot there. Plenty of space, plenty of fun. Yeah, all right, okay. All proceeds, as I mentioned, go to the Irish Wheelchair. Are you a vintage car owner, Raymond?
Oh, no, I'm not. No,
okay,
well, some say that my car is vintage.
I was going to say, I was looking at some of these cars on the front of it, and I'm thinking, right, they're better than a lot of cars out the road right now. But listen, people love their cars and are very proud. Okay, you can contact. There's some contact numbers here, by the way, if you want to get involved. A caller says, I had driving lessons with Raymond. He's so patient. It was a great experience. I now drive a drive from wheelchair vehicle. They are very common now. It's essential if you live in Donegal to have your own transport, although it is expensive. I think lots more disabled people could be driving if they were made aware of the options available, maybe through OTs, etc. And we're trying to do our bit here. Greg, if you have an automatic Volkswagen with adaptive cruise control, you need very little adaptation on your car when you set it up. A finger is all you need, honestly. It does the braking and acceleration for you. Raymond has the patience of a saint, says another. I was in a bad accident 16 years ago, and he's helping me get my confidence back. And that's the type of work you do. And that's why I said right sort of from the beginning, I think you're it's as much support as training.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Listener wants to know if you have to have passed your theory test before going to Raymond. I think that would be prudent anyway, wouldn't it?
You have to have your provisional permit with you.
Yeah, I don't think that's unreasonable, especially if you're going to get someone in behind the wheel of the vehicle as well.
I can't put them in unless they've a provisional license.
And I think having it's a nice achievement to have that in any case. Okay, listen, Raymond, it's been lovely having you in. Thank you very much indeed. And we'll mention that tractor show a little bit, that auto show a little bit closer to the time as well. But thank you so much for coming in. It's been lovely having you on.
Thanks, Scott.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
The train calling at Platform 3 is the 1959 service to Cork. Calling at Charleville, Mallow and Maria in C32A starts chemo next month.
We don't always know who's at risk from COVID-19 and other viruses, but we do know how to protect them. Keep hands clean and wear a mask. Let fresh air in, get vaccinated and stay at home if you are unwell. From the HSE, for us all.
Zilch, nada diddly squat. If you cut savings, that's about as much interest as you're earning. And inflation's eating into the value too. Have you considered investing to potentially grow your money? At Bank of Ireland, we know you've worked hard for your money, and with our expert support, it can work harder for you. So don't rest it, invest it. Visit bankofireland.com, explore investing. Bank of Ireland, begin. Terms and conditions apply. Bank of Ireland is a tied agent of New Ireland Assurance Company plc, trading as Bank of Ireland Life for life assurance and pensions business. Members of Bank of Ireland Group. Bank of Ireland trading as Bank of Ireland Insurance and Investments is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
The final O'Neill Sportswear Massive Warehouse Clearance starts at 9 a.m. on Friday 17th of June and ends Sunday 19th of June. For the final time, County GAA jerseys, leisure wear, including t-shirts, tracksuit bottoms, half-zips, hoodies and jackets, all reduced to clear. The sale will take place at O'Neill Sportswear Warehouse of the Melmount Road, Strabane.
Due to continued expansion, Watson Hire in Letterkenny have a vacancy for a mechanic and plant fitter. Work will include maintenance and repair of plant hire, tools and equipment. Experience with diesel, petrol and electrical machinery will be important. A full driver's licence and basic computer knowledge is essential. This position is full-time and offers a competitive salary. To apply, send your CV to jobs@watsonhire.ie.
Come on down to the annual Finn Valley Show on Russell Brothers Farm, Killygordon, this Saturday 18th of June, with the usual dog, home industries, poultry, sheep, cattle, horse and pony classes, and fast and furious donkey derby, with trade stands, show and shine tractor competition, live music from David James, and children's entertainment. It's sure to be a family fun day at the Finn Valley Show. This ad is sponsored by Kilpatrick Brothers Contracting for all your agri needs: mowing, raking, baling, GPS sowing, slurry or manure spreading. Call Ray or Davey on 087 212 1760.
OK, a lot of you backing President Michael D. Higgins via text. Good morning. Of course, President Higgins was more than right to address housing problems and a lack of housing. It's a pity some of our TDs and councillors are not as forthcoming. Another, Michael D. Higgins is sitting in a large house himself since he went into office, and he could have homeless people move in there. So another person maybe not quite as keen on what he has to say. Greg, I lived in Germany for the greater part of this year. There is a great system in place where there are recycling facilities for plastic bottles. It's called the PFAN system, and you get 25 cents back per recycled bottle. You get a voucher for the shop you deposited them in. Lidl is one of them. As a student, it was a great way to save a little bit on your shopping, especially after a night out. Okay, all right, but I mean that makes sense. I mean, we'd be out collecting plastic bottles if we'd get 25 cents per bottle. I mean, can you imagine? You know what, 20 bottles and you get €5 off your bill. It's not insignificant. Good morning, Greg. I'm delighted to see President Michael D. Higgins speaking out so passionately about the national disaster of the lack of housing for our citizens in this country. Shame on our politicians and civil servants on the policies that they have followed for the past 10 years. I have a member of my own family who's living in rented accommodation in Letterkenny for the past years, paying €700 a month. With the stroke of a pen, their rent will be going up by €400 a month from the 1st of September. And to be quite honest, the house falls far short of housing for an expected new baby. Shame on the greed raging through our country, and well done to anyone like Michael D, who calls out the lack of proper policy on fair access to affordable and decent housing for all people. Indeed. And, you know, I think if we're going to talk about getting the housing right, we have to get it right for landlords as well, because, you know, a lot of people said, stuff it, I'm not going to be a landlord. I'm going to do Airbnb, or I'm going to do this, that and the other, because they get all the blame if they increase the rent. Now, obviously, some of it is just seeing how much you can make. But I think that has to be part of the conversation as well. Like, why did so many people with houses that they were renting decide to stop long-term renting and move to Airbnb or sell the house? Too little too late for the president in speaking out about the housing crisis. He stood by this last few years and said nothing about the taxes that were introduced year after year on working people. He never stood up for the water charges or for the household tax. Hi Greg, I think the way things are going, €12 will be a pittance in 4 years' time. Another, I'm always suspicious about this government's announcement. Why not just make the minimum wage €12 per hour? Is this Fine Gael's way of abolishing the compulsory minimum wage with a recommended living wage, hence lowering workers' wages? Now, if it's in defence of the government, I think the minimum wage, right? The minimum is like, what is the bare minimum I can pay someone for this job? Whereas a living wage reflects the cost of living. So if you have a living wage, that perhaps would be more in harmony with inflation, for example, because a living wage only becomes a living wage if it increases with the cost of living. So I presume that's why they're moving in that direction, whereas a minimum wage doesn't really tell us much, does it? That's just the least an employer can pay to fill a position. Why do we have president? If a TD can say the president needs to get back in his box, why are we paying for a figurehead that must remain silent? Have your say on our social polls. I just think, you know, these ministers and government members that are throwing shade at the president, they should put their names to their comments. Do you know, it's no point speaking to a journalist on the quiet. I can tell you right now, and this is the God's honest truth, if a minister or an elected representative wanted to criticise Michael D. Higgins, to me to say on the radio, and I couldn't mention their names, I'd tell them to go and jump, as if I'm going to be their mouthpiece because they won't, because they wouldn't. But I wasn't. But it didn't happen. But I wouldn't. I would say, well, tell them yourself. You know, come on and say it. I'm not your spokesperson, so you can take digs anonymously. Anyway, the president's 100% right. It's about time something was done about the housing crisis. So many people from broken marriages now have nowhere to go. The country is a disaster, believes that caller. Hi, Greg. Could you please ask Michael Doherty why can't we go back to Dublin and sit in the motorway for however long it takes and stop the talking? That has to be done at the right time, you know, and it has to be done at the right way. Like, you know, there are those that tried to do that for other reasons, and if it's not organised right, it ends up actually you're going backwards. If you go to Dublin, you have to make sure that you're going to Dublin like the last time, and it has a huge impact and it makes a big difference, because otherwise it actually can take away from your campaign. The campaign, as it relates to fuel prices, it fell flat, right? Because they said, right, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, calm down. People didn't go down. They tried to blockade stuff, and the guard just says, no problem. If you don't move, we're going to fine you every hour and put points on your licence to the point whereby they'd be off the road in a day, right? Okay, so if you're going to do something like the Micah campaigners did the last time, it has to be done right and at the right time in the right way that progresses the campaign, rather than it's amazing the momentum can be lost if you do something like that wrong. And the one thing I'll say about the Micah campaign is very well organised. I think what they did down in Dublin yesterday, just the right thing at the right time, that couldn't be ignored by the media down there, didn't disrupt anyone, but made really good and clear points. And I think when the time is right to pull the trigger, they'll know exactly what to do and how to do it. They've got it right so far. In terms of the PR and how that's been handled, behind the scenes and in front of the scenes, has been excellent. It's for anyone wishing to campaign, kind of that's how you do it. So we'll see. I just don't think, right, let's all go to Dublin. You know, how many would be able to turn down? How many would go down? How many would get involved in the blocking of motorways? How would that be policed? What would be the upshot of it? All of those things have to be factored in. Hi, Greg. This bee of a government can get money for everything, but can't sort us. Hi, Greg. Can you ask, is the 6,000, 7,000 testing fees done away with, or do we still have to pay? I would wait until the process has been gone through. We'll know this time next month what's what, I think. So we'll see. Has anyone seen Declan Bonner since Donegal's loss at the weekend? Disappointing he didn't say a few words since and after the match. I mean, there's a bit of wounds licking going on, I'd say, for the whole team. They're disappointed, you know. They've put it all in there, and obviously it didn't work out. Chad has the nicest hot coffee on the road in Fintown. Thanks, Chad. I hope, Chad, you're not texting in. I'm only joking. Greg, 20 cents off bringing your own cup, $3.10 for a large coffee. Other places, $5 for a large coffee, that is. Right, 20 cents off bringing your own cup, $3.10 for a large coffee. Other places, $5. All right, I don't know what that means. I'm not a big coffee buyer. I'll drink it if it's bought for me. But I don't know the ins and outs of that text. Sorry. Delighted to see our president take a proactive role. No politician should be annoyed with his comments. It is their duty to sort these things out. Yeah, indeed. Okay. I take your point there. Good morning, Greg. I have a lumbar fracture on my spine. The doctor made an appointment for me in hospital 3 weeks ago and checked yesterday to see where I was on the list. I nearly passed out when I was told. How long? The person has a lumbar fracture on their spine. Doctors made an appointment. You probably think, right, okay, hopefully mid-July. 4 years. 4 years before they'd be seen. It's a serious problem. What's wrong with the hospital system, they say? It's a good question. All right, okay. I will take a break here. Stay right where you are. Back with more after these.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
There's something for every kind of dad at Lidl this week. Whether it's our incredible electric hedge trimmer for only $69.99 or our fabulous cordless beard and hair trimmer at only $16.99, it'll be bang on for somebody. So whether he's really into gardening or just really into himself, we've got Father's Day covered. Lidl, more for you.
The award-winning Genesis Aesthetics and Skincare Clinic Udor now offers a wide range of skin boosters. The injectable moisturiser for under eyes that improves dark circles, fine lines and wrinkles. Also treating the face, neck, chest and hands. This amazing treatment works from the inside out, resulting in brighter, smoother, plumper skin. For help choosing the right aesthetic treatment for you, contact Mary Ferry, your aesthetic practitioner. You can download the Genesis app or call 07495 32575.
Northwest Regional College has launched its exciting range of part-time courses starting this September, and enrolments are now open. Whether it's a new skill or a new career direction, there's something on offer for everyone. For course details at our Derry, Londonderry, Limavady or Strabane campuses, visit nwrc.ac.uk/part-time. And remember, enrolments are now open. Refresh your future with a part-time course at Northwest Regional College.
Dergfest Castle Derg, Saturday the 30th of July, featuring Sigma, KC Lights, plus support acts, all under the Big Top Tent. For ticket information, check out Dergfest Music Festival Facebook page.
This ad is kindly sponsored by McKelvey Construction, Castle Derg.
So how's your constipation these days, Patsy?
Oh, I've been taking Fibrogel. It's full of fibre, which naturally relieves constipation and helps maintain regularity.
Fabulous. My constipation is much more mild, so I take the chewable tablets from Fibrogel. Super convenient. Just pop it in your mouth to make number 2 a little less of a to-do.
Mum, Patsy, I am never coming to tea with you again.
Fibrogel High Fibre Orange Granules contains this. Pagula Husk, always read the label. Fibrogel Fibre Chews is a medical device, always read the instructions.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show here on Highland Radio, and it is time for this.
Business Matters, in association with the Faculty of Business at ATU Donegal. The part-time Level 8 Honours degree in Business is delivered through a mix of online and face-to-face lectures. Email execedbusiness@lyit.ie. That's execedbusiness@lyit.ie, or call 9186206.
And we welcome into studio the presenter of Highland Radio's Business Matters podcast. It is Kieran O'Donnell. Hi, Kieran.
Good morning, Greg.
Good to have you in. What's the crack?
All good, on yourself?
Same as.
You were throwing a wee shape there, the ad break there.
Oh, they didn't bring me water when I asked for it, and unfortunately,
well,
I have a short temperature.
We respect what happened.
Huh?
Caroline was offering you glasses.
Is that because I didn't
for
put
your
my
eyes, not to hold the water?
It's because I didn't put my cup in the dishwasher.
That's okay.
Like,
Good to see somebody keep you in check.
Away from home, like, you know. All right, Kieran, let's talk about the Argyll Arts Festival, because another bumper programme has been released.
Yes, Greg, the programme of events for the 2022 Argyll Arts Festival took place on Saturday at Angraden Theatre here in Letterkenny. So this is the 35th year of the festival, which is hard to believe, and I suppose while it's primarily a celebration of our vibrant culture, there is also a significant economic return through the festival, and it's good to see it back.
Do you load the dishwasher? Or do you have a dishwasher?
I do load the dishwasher.
Like, I mean, I think if you leave cups close to the dishwasher, I think you've met half.
Yeah,
you know,
you're trying something. I
something.
wouldn't be great at emptying it, but if it's the last resort, I will. But I'm very good at loading it up.
But if I leave the 2 cups beside the dishwasher, do you think it's fair that what I was subjected to there?
No, you probably should have washed and dried the cups.
Yeah, but the lights were on. I was under the impression the dishwasher was mid-cycle. You know what happens. You open the door, you get splashed.
There's no saying, Greg, when you're explaining you're losing. So
I think it was a bit harsh, that's all. Anyway, I'll know for again. I'll put it in the dishwasher. Sorry, you don't like emptying the dishwasher, is that what you said?
Wouldn't be a fan, no.
Yeah, okay. 086 60 25,000. Do you think Kieran O'Donnell should empty the dishwasher? Get your calls into us right now. Okay. We talked about, did we, the crowdfunding. Is this the crowdfunding, or what's the funding here for Sleeve League Distilleries?
Yeah, it's another development, Greg, on an ongoing story, I suppose. Donegal spirits producer Sleeve League Distilleries is looking to raise €2 million through crowdfunding to boost its production capacity. So as part of a new equity round, Sleeve League Distillers will launch a Crowdcube campaign on Monday, that's June the 20th, which will see production being carried out 24/7 and its input increasing from 440,000 litres to 600,000 litres per annum. So back in 2020, and that's what you're referring to, Greg, the owners of Sleeve League Distillery, James and Maria Doherty, raised £2.3 million through Crowdcoop for their distillery in Ardra, which is currently under construction. It should be nearly there, as far as I know, at a cost of €10 million.
Right,
So
really
massive
significant development. Yeah. Okay. Right, now some Donegal projects have been shortlisted.
Yeah, 3 worthy regeneration and refurbishment projects in Donegal have been shortlisted for the 2022 RIAI Public Choice Awards. The Remilton Historic Towns Initiative, Killybegs Regeneration Strategy and Action Plan, and Saltpans Cottage in Rathmullen are up for a public vote alongside 20 other plans. So the winners of those, Greg, will be announced on Thursday, June the 23rd, and we wish them well in their endeavours there.
Some positive news on employment at CETA.
Yeah. CETA in Letterkenny is to increase its workforce by growing its technical team by 20. CETA is the global leader in technologies enabling safe and seamless global travel, and they are searching for people who have a passion for innovation and the technical skills to build the next generation of digital products that will transform the journeys of millions of passengers across the world. So the company will hold a tech open night at its Letterkenny offices on Thursday, the 23rd of June, between 5:30 and 9 p.m. And you have to register online. That can be done a number of ways through CETA's social media platforms, Donegal Invest as well. There are plenty of links there, but a good opportunity for people who are looking to either upskill, relocate, or get an insight into what life is like at CETA.
Yeah, and our travelling is made much more simple and seamless, and we don't even know why, but it's companies like this that are doing the groundwork and getting their heads together.
The other good thing, I suppose, the aviation sector, as we know, has just taken a massive bounce, maybe a bounce that people didn't see being so high so soon. So obviously there's a demand then for the services that CETA provide.
Rightio. Let us talk now about an award for beautiful Glencolmkill.
Yeah, congratulations to Glencolmkill on winning a national .ie Digital Town Award. The South West Donegal Towns Building a Digital Cultural Infrastructure for Our Community project took home top prize in the digital tourism category. And that was at the annual awards ceremony, and they scooped €9,000, which will be spent in the local area. So the .ie Digital Town Awards were established in 2021 by .ie, and they are the managers of Ireland's trusted online .ie address.
Okay. Rightio. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll come back with what's coming up on this week's podcast. How does that sound?
You're the boss, Greg.
All right, we'll be fully up to date after these.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Is your bank leaving town? Letterkenny Credit Union is now offering MyCU current account and debit MasterCard, bringing full banking features with no appointment necessary to open your account.
Beat the cost of Brexit with no customs charges. Do you need a UK address for your limited company or personal use? Space Hub in Derry can provide you with your own mailbox. Have your post and parcels delivered to Space Hub and collect at your convenience. There's brand new 20-foot shipping containers now in stock, ideal for all your storage needs at our Springtown and Coolmore depots. Find us on Facebook at spacehubderry.com or call 04871 878077 for more details.
Happy Father's Day.
This Father's Day, choose Dolce & Gabbana, Gucci, Cool Water, Diesel, 1 Million, Jean-Paul Gaultier. Choose McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny. Great gifts for great dads. Click mcgees.ie.
Due to continued expansion, McHugh's Tyres, Railway Street, Strabane are seeking to recruit experienced tyre fitters and vehicle technicians. Excellent package rates are available. For further details, contact McHugh's Tyres on 048 7138 2238. Stick to the road with McHugh's Tyres.
Tesco Club Card has the power to lower prices on tasty nibbles like selected Pringles, now 3 for €5, and Marquis d'Albon Reserve Bordeaux Superior 75cl and Chateau Mazan Rouge 75cl, both better than half price at €8.50 each. It can't stop you getting crumbs everywhere though. Nothing's that powerful. Lower the cost of your shop with your Tesco Club Card or app. The power to lower prices. Tesco. Every little helps. Product subject to availability. Excludes express stores. Enjoy alcohol responsibly.
Looking for the ultimate makeover for your home? Revive a special room, conservatory or sunroom? Look no further. Hardwood Plantation Shutters is your answer. A stunningly beautiful piece of furniture that will totally enhance the look and bring ambience to any area of your home. Luxurious and classically modern, and manufactured here in the Northwest. Any size, shape or colour. Call or check out our website, Plantation Shutters Ireland. Also on Facebook and Instagram.
Hegarty's Auto Body Repairs in Letterkenny have been keeping cars on the road across the Northwest for the past 50 years. Hegarty's are the only Ford-approved body shop in the Northwest, but repair all makes and models. Paintless dent removal, windscreen replacement and restoration work. Hegarty's even mix their own paint. Approved by most insurance companies and certified Steel Standards Ireland. That's Hegarty's Auto Body, Letterkenny. For all vehicle repairs. See hegartys.com. Business Matters, in association with the Faculty of Business at ATU Donegal. The part-time Level 8 Honours degree in Business is delivered through a mix of online and face-to-face lectures. Email execedbusiness@lyit.ie. That's EXECED business@lyit.ie or call 9186206.
All right, Kieran, talk to me about this week's podcast.
Yes, Greg, my guest this week is former managing editor of the Dairy Journal, Pat McGeart. Pat, as we know, is a well-known commentator, has written a number of books and is columnist with the Daily Mirror and the Letterkenny Leader. After attending Letterkenny Regional Technical College, he began his career in journalism with the Dairy People in June 1974. He moved to RTE in 1979 before becoming the editor of the Dairy Journal in 1981 at the age of 27. When newspaper sales were at their peak, the Dairy Journal Group recorded an annual profit of around £5 million. So on this clip, Pat recalls that time when newspapers were king.
The Friday Journal said 28,000 at £1 something, but just stick to £1. That's £28,000 right away. And if Tuesday was selling, say, 27,000, 26,000 at £1 ago, that's 26,000. So 28 and 26, you're earning £54,000 a week before you even start. Now, the Friday could have 50, 60, 70,000 pounds worth of advertising on it on a good week. The Tuesday could have had 20, 30,000 on a good week. So work that out. And at one stage, I remember when now the McCarrolls had sold the paper, and we were locked in with the newsletter in Belfast, but the Journal still was the main. We had £5 million profit, I remember, one year. So you said newspapers were king? Absolutely. That was no wonder the local newspapers were sort of enticed by the big multinationals, the Daily Mirror and the Irish Independent. They all bought up local newspapers because they were so lucrative in terms of revenue.
And I suppose, Kieran, it's interesting. It's the future, isn't it? Like, what does the future hold? It's in terms of newspapers' place, and it varies from publication to publication. It's the same could be said of all media, really, in the world going forward.
Yeah, I suppose, look, newspaper sales, they've been impacted by a number of factors, Greg. The last recession at the end of the 80s, the large increase in the very swift
move your head
change,
onto the other side of that microphone.
The swift change across to social media, everything went digitalised. The way news stations and radio stations do their work, the way newspapers do their work now. So the whole thing has changed, and I suppose one factor, I heard the Reuters report on this morning there, and obviously they're mentioning about news and about Ireland and as a massive appetite for news, and the survey there would have said that we trust the news sources that we have.
I have issues with that survey in that in that survey does not allow people in Donegal to say that they would trust Highland Radio.
Yeah.
What it does is it's set up to say that they trust a national newspaper or a national radio station. What it does not take into account is that most people listen to radio that isn't RTE. But anyway, that's by the by. But I take your point and its general overall findings.
I suppose, and the other thing just to add was the other thing that certainly didn't do newspaper sales any favours was the fact that when the pandemic came, people just couldn't go outside their work, go to the shop and buy the paper, Greg, you know.
Okay. Radio, listen, Kieran, thanks very much for that. We'll look forward to seeing you next week.
100%.
All right, take care of yourself. By the way, if people want to podcast the Business Matters podcast, they can do so by going to our website. It's also available on Spotify or iTunes, or if you wish to listen to it, it's broadcast on Sunday evening after the 6 o'clock news. Now, if anyone is looking to get in touch with the show, they can do what Fionnuala did, just stick your head in. Or alternatively, how do they go about doing so?
Yeah, just drop me an email, please, Greg, and Fionnuala, businessmatters@tidalradio.com.
Oh, all right. Listen, take care of yourself. Thanks very much, Kieran. I really do appreciate it. All right, so we asked asked you on our social media. President Higgins has called the housing crisis a disaster and our great failure. Do you think he crossed the line? On Twitter, 15% of you said he had, 85% no. On Instagram, it was 17% believe he had, 83% thought no. Now, Dr. Laura Cahillane is a senior lecturer in law at the University of Limerick and joins us on the programme now. Thanks for your time, Laura. I really appreciate it.
No worries.
Okay, so some people might have forgotten that President Michael D. Higgins is quite vocal. We haven't heard from him for quite some time. Just what is the sort of significance of him speaking out in this fashion?
Well, it's a bit of a tricky one. And as you say, I mean, questions about the appropriateness of his comments have come up in the past. And actually there was, I think, a smaller controversy a couple of weeks ago about similar types of comments as well. And the tricky thing here is that the office of the president has changed. So, I mean, in the early days, it certainly was seen as a very traditional, a very conservative office. But since Mary Robinson's time, it certainly has changed. And she would have seen herself as being a sort of a voice for the people. And she would say, you know, am I not entitled to represent the people's views? And, you know, Mary McAleese, I think, carried that on, and Michael D. Higgins even more so. But there are difficulties here because the office of the president is intended to be above politics. And that is because they have certain duties, certain constitutional duties, which means that they can't conflict with the government. And the Constitution does clearly set it up so that there won't be conflicts between the presidency and the government. So that's where this gets a little bit tricky. If the president is seen to be interfering with government policy, then that is problematic.
But is he not really trying to ride two horses here? And I'm not being in any way disrespectful to him, but I presume he has to sign off on legislation. So I'm not sure if there's a precedent in that regard, but he's criticising legislation, which all decisions come from, which he himself has endorsed with his signature.
And that is the really tricky one. So that's one of the major rules under Article 26 of the Constitution, is that the president must either sign the piece of legislation or send it to the Supreme Court if there's any question that it might be unconstitutional. And that is a major role. It's not something that's exercised very often that they do send it on, but it is a very important role that the president exercises. And that is one of the main reasons that they are seen as being neutral and that they don't take positions on things like this, because obviously then there might be an appearance of bias when it comes to issues around legislation afterwards.
Yeah, because people will hear his words and say, you know, fair play Michael D. Higgins for speaking out, but he eventually, say, for instance, might sign off on new legislation to deal with the defective block crisis, and the public might be saying, listen, you know, you're our last defender here. So, as I say, I'm not questioning his motives, but for me personally, I just think there's he could actually, you know, rather than just saying stuff, there's an opportunity for him to make it a real stand, but he's chosen not to. And this looks good, but in effect, what does it do?
Well, the worrying thing is, I mean, okay, it's all very well and good when these are comments that we agree with, and you know, we're happy that he's saying these things. Where a problem will come in is where a future president, be it this one or some other president, might decide to take things a little bit further and start saying more controversial things. And that's where it does actually become quite dangerous. And that's where you can have a conflict between the presidency and the government, or you can have people saying, well, hang on a second, this isn't representative of my views. And that's why the role of the president is not set up in that way. They're not supposed to be, you know, expressing these sorts of views. So that's where the danger is. And it's a slippery slope, you know, when you see presidents coming very close to the line and saying these sorts of things, that in future, I mean, God forbid we have a sort of Trump-like president who starts saying very worrying things. And that's where it becomes very difficult.
I mean, the government will take this on the chin, and the ministers will speak out behind journalists. But, I mean, let's just say hypothetically they wanted to just take a stand on this issue, or perhaps maybe his next series of comments. What potentially could happen there if the government says, hold on, you're overstepping your line here. You perform your duties on the advice of the government. You're not there to criticise it. What mechanisms are there to resolve a situation like that if it were to ever come to pass?
Well, not very many. I mean, obviously behind closed doors, I'm sure there will be conversations had. I mean, it's part of the Taoiseach's duty to keep the president informed of legislation and upcoming policy. So I'm sure they will be having conversations, and this potentially will arise. But in terms of formal mechanisms, I mean, the only thing you can do is to remove the president, but that is a major undertaking, which I can't imagine would ever be attempted on the basis of something like speaking out. So I would imagine it will be conversations behind closed doors more than anything else.
It'll be very interesting to see what else he chooses to weigh in on. Dr. Laura Callaghan, thank you very much for your time this morning.
You're
I
welcome.
really appreciate it. Have a great day. Laura is a senior lecturer in law at University of Limerick. Right. We also asked you on our social media, children who have studied hard and have tested positive for COVID are being marked as absent rather than being given an alternative option to sit the junior cert exams. Do you agree with this? On Twitter, 28.6% of you do. So 71.4% of you believe that what is happening at the moment is wrong. We asked the same question on Instagram. I wonder, is it a slightly different demographic on that social media platform? Well, overwhelmingly, 93% of you believe that marking students who test positive for COVID as absent is unfair. 93% of you believe that is unfair. I mean, but people missed exams for other reasons too, though. Is it the same if you broke an ankle or something, or you weren't able to go, or I don't know what the story is there. The coffee cup tax guy, Chad, he just hit the nail on the head. 100% a box extra for the government's pockets. It's nothing to do with environmental damage. It's a stealth tax. Now, the one thing I'd say about that, though, let's just suppose, right, that Chad buys the cups, adds €100 onto his bill, he passes that on to the customer, and that we continue to buy coffee, but our habits are changed, and that we bring our own cups, okay? So he still does the same amount of business, but doesn't have to buy as many cups. That's perhaps the ideal situation. I think we all feel that probably is not the way it would play out. But the caller goes on to say, if the government was serious about litter issues, they'd charge €1 a cup to purchase the cup, and if you bring it back to the place of purchase, they'll refund the euro. Then they'll have no litter. Otherwise, it's just another way of them getting revenue for themselves. Yeah, so it would cost you €1 to dump that out on the road. It's interesting. I don't know either as consumers if we'd get on board with that. But you know what? It seems to be a lot of people out there, the common sense people, which are our listeners, that are coming up with more practical solutions that would, encourage people to stop littering, but not tax them into stopping littering. I just wish we could have a people's court where a lot of these decisions were made. Let us have our say. Let us come up with some policies and see how we get on. Because, as I say, that's one simple text there with not only a criticism of what's being proposed, but a logical alternative. All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching the show, for listening to the show, for texting, calling, all your interactions. It's really, really